What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to the Creative Differences podcast, where we like to play favorites. My name is Dallas.
I'm Demi.
And I'm the only emotion left in Pandora's box.
Cool. And today we are talking about our favorite actors of 2019. Unfortunately, Gabby cannot be here with us tonight because she had a personal emergency, but hopefully she'll be here tomorrow with us for our favorite musicians.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
So before we start, let's get down to the rules of the game. Basically, what's going to happen is we are going to go through our top 10 favorite actors. If somebody names an actor on their list and somebody else has it on their higher on their list, they will call skip, and we will wait until it's higher up on that person's list to talk about them.
For example, this example would not happen, but let's say Colin has Martin Lawrence on his list at number 9, and I have him at number 7. No, he has not done anything this year, Colin.
Cool.
Then I would say skip.
I was really going to say, like,
I just had to
did he do anything last year? Or
He did not.
I had to pick someone
Who you knew
that I knew wasn't going to be on your list.
Is he on yours?
No,
He didn't
it's
do
an
anything.
example for example's sake.
All
No
right.
spoilers. I don't want to give away anybody's list.
So let's get this started with our honorary mentions. Dallas, you want to start us off?
Honorable mentions. Yes.
What?
Honorable mentions.
You heard him.
I
said
heard
what I
it,
said.
but I didn't understand it.
All right. Zachary Levi for Shazam, Lupita Nyong'o for Us, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Diane Guerrero for Doom Patrol, and Rosa Salazar for Undone.
Cool. Colin never has honorable mentions. I have Gabby's list, so I'm going to read off her honorable mentions, which were Rita Moreno, Oscar Isaac, and Chris Evans, because she stands those three, and they're always her favorites.
I'm surprised they didn't make it to the top 10.
Right?
I guess we'll find out as the night
How
goes
did
on.
Chris Evans not make it just
Right.
based on the fact that he's Chris Evans?
We'll have to yell at her.
He apparently
later.
didn't. My honorary mention list is Himesh Patel from Yesterday, Tom Holland from Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home, Natalie Emmanuel from Game of Thrones, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, Sasha Luss from Anna, and then I was trying to cut it down to 5, but then I had 2 cast ensembles that I wanted, so the cast of When They See Us and the cast of Big Little Lies.
You said Sasha who?
Sasha Luss,
Luss.
Luss.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What, Colin?
She's a Russian model and actress.
Got it,
Dallas,
got it.
number 10.
Sorry. Colin, what? Okay.
Nothing.
It sounded like you said the word lust,
Yeah, it did.
I knew that's what
Got
you
it.
guys thought I
Yep.
said, which
It's
was when
just-
you asked me.
That's
which, like, I don't know if that's a porn star.
no,
but-
I think we're
It
both,
could be.
because I just thought of Sasha Grey.
Well, no, we know Sasha Grey.
Yeah, but like I feel like you can't be a Sasha in porn anymore because Sasha Grey kind of took the name and like,
Dallas,
I
number
just
10.
feel like there's a lot of porn stars with the
Come
last
on,
name
man.
Lust. Sorry.
I mean, probably.
Number
Yeah.
10.
So you said, okay. What? Number 10. Bill Hader for It, Chapter 2. So, yes. Bill Hader. Sorry, he was also in Barry. I didn't watch Barry. That's my bad. I meant to watch it. I didn't watch it. But he was good enough in It, Chapter 2. That's all we needed. I knew he was going to be funny. And he was the best part of that movie for me. He was hilarious. And he actually did some dramatic acting. Which, when your movie's that long in a horror movie, I'm glad that we got to see him do more than just be the comic relief.
Yeah, that sounds like, how long is that movie? Like almost 3 hours?
It's like 230
It's like
something,
240.
240 something.
Wow. Yeah, you got to give him more to do if you're gonna have that much runtime.
Yeah, which, to be fair, the cast is like 7 or 8 deep, like adults and then the kids as well for flashback. So it's like, I know why the movie's long. I was really glad to see Bill Hader do his thing. Also, there's one point in the movie toward the end when he does like some really impressive physical acting. There's a whole thing that happens in the tunnels or the caves or whatever. I don't want to give too much away, but like he drops his arms to his sides and it's just like almost unsettling how good he was at just like moving his body in such a weird way. And I can't explain it to you guys because you didn't watch the movie and it's quite a spoiler. But yeah, shout out to Bill Hader. He did his thing.
Colin, number 10.
My number 10 is a twofer. I have a couple of those on this list. It's Michael Sheen and David Tennant for Good Omens. Mainly because like
It's a team up.
anytime you have like a person or two people kind of carry an entire show, like they got to be good at what they do. Because if that doesn't work, like if their chemistry together, if that doesn't work, like the whole show doesn't work. And they were great throughout the entire thing. Like they play off of each other really well. And you could tell that like they knew their characters and how their characters knew each other. And there was the history there. Like they played that really well. They were just super good.
Yeah, I've been a fan of David Tennant because he's my favorite doctor. But also, I'm becoming a fan of Michael Sheen because of his work on Prodigal Son last year and continuing into this year. He's so good playing a serial killer, dude. Just so good.
For clarification, when she says doctor, she means Doctor Who, not like who's her favorite actual doctor.
The 10th Doctor.
Good to know. Good to know.
All right, so Gabby's number 10 was Keanu Reeves for John Wick, Toy Story, and that epic cameo that he had in Always Be My Baby.
Love John Wick.
He had an amazing year.
Keanu Reeves is great.
My number 10 is Ana de Armas.
Nice.
Who played Marta in Knives Out. That movie, she just continues to prove to me that she is a movie star.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's so magnetic on screen, even when she's acting against people who have been doing this for like years and have bigger names than her, like Daniel Craig or like Christopher.
And that movie is centered around her.
It's centered around her.
She really has to do a lot of the work.
Yeah, I remember going into Knives Out thinking that this movie was going to follow more on the family, especially when I found out that she's supposed to be like the help.
Yeah.
And then I was watching it and I was like, oh no, this movie's about you. Oh, this is fantastic. I love everything about this choice. She's just so good. And also, like, I'm a huge fan of Christopher Plummer because I grew up watching Sound of Music. So, like, that man is just kind of intimidating to me because he's Captain Von Trapp. And he's just an intimidating figure. And so her acting against him is just like, the fact that you're going like toe to toe with this, he's a legend in my eyes. So she's so great. But she has a really lovely and relatable performance as Marta. And I think the standout scene for her in that movie might just be her telling Benoit the story of what happened the night that Plummer's character dies. And like we get that flashback between her and Plummer that we go through. I think that's one of the best scenes that she's got in that movie. So my number 10 is Ana de Armas. Number 9, Dallas.
I respect it. She is dope. She's super dope.
She is super dope.
My number 9 is Jack Black for Jumanji: The Next Level.
I forgot about that.
Oh my God. If I could watch a version of Jumanji where Jack Black has to play every character, I would 100% watch that movie.
He's so good at it.
He's so good. The way he channels, because we all saw what he did in Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah,
like,
where he's
playing
Bethany
perfectly as a teenage girl.
But that type of teenage girl.
Yeah, exactly. But the way he channels a young black man was just, it was subtle enough that it wasn't offensive. Like it wasn't on some Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr. Like it wasn't too much.
He wasn't out there. He
just sounded like
Fridge.
Yeah, he sounded like a black dude would sound in that situation.
A very exhausted black dude.
Man, it is hot out here. Like he's just.
But also, he's at this point played 3 out of the 4 teenagers in this movie.
Wait.
Because he had to play.
Oh yes, he did play. What's her name?
I never remember her name.
Which one?
Is it Martha?
Yes, Martha.
Yeah.
He had to play Martha.
Yes, that's true.
For a few minutes there.
Yeah, he was showing his range. But honestly, I know the popular pick is him as Bethany, which is great. But
yes.
I want more of him as Fridge because that was.
I just want him to jump between bodies. That's all.
Yeah. Just like, oh, my weaknesses are heat and sand.
And endurance.
Not like we're in a goddamn desert. Like, oh my God. He's amazing.
He's so good in that movie.
Shout out to Jack Black. And I saw him do one of those interviews where, like, every publication has a series like this where, like, break down your biggest roles from this and da. And he was just talking about his roles from like School of Rock and Nacho Libre.
I think
and all that
Vanity
stuff.
Fair is the one that's doing it a lot more recently.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are really good.
I think it was one of those.
It was Vanity Fair Variety.
And I was just watching him talk. And his was long because he's been acting forever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, I could watch this man talk all day about his roles because he's just so nice. And he's like, oh, yeah, working with them was great. And like, they're so nice. And, you know, I felt a little uncomfortable about the Nacho Libre thing. Like, I didn't want to.
I was watching him and Karen Gillan do a game where they were just doing impressions. So they were just like picking up cards and having to do the impression. And they had to guess what each other's impression was. Yeah. And she has one of Arnold Schwarzenegger that does not sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger at all. But she did it, and he went, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, she has this impersonation that she does that sounds nothing like I was like, that's how you know that you guys like are close and that you guys hang out on set and stuff. Because like he knew her impersonation. Like she had already done it for him before. Oh, man. So great.
But yeah, Jack Black is the man, and he's number 9. Colin.
My number 9 is Joey Beatty.
Oh, Jaskier.
From The Witcher.
He's great.
Like, oh, he's so good. And also just like feel like he is exactly what that show needs, because Geralt is so dour and Yennefer is so focused, and
Ciri's having a hard time, guys.
Ciri just, she's just, nothing is going well for her. So you need someone to lighten things up, but also he's not stupid. Like, he's not just slapsticky. Like,
Oh, is he Dandelion?
Yes.
he's
Got it.
Dandelion.
I didn't know what
They
name.
renamed him Diaskir for some reason.
Got
I don't know why.
Toss a coin to your witcher.
Also, he's got bars.
Yo, that song, fire.
It's so good.
The best. Yo, where's that soundtrack at,
He
yo?
also sings other songs, and I want to know what those songs are.
I want the soundtrack, yo.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he has a song about
There's something with a fishmonger.
he has a song about Yennefer and Geralt.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote one for them. Yeah, no, give us the soundtrack. Yo, where we are with it. He's great though. He's
really
so
is.
funny on the show. He is the comedic relief of the show, and I love his dynamic with Henry Cavill as Geralt.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, Geralt is just a very just dour type of person. He's not supposed to show a lot of emotion because he's hiding them, so people don't realize that he has weaknesses. But I also love his dynamic with Yen, because Yennefer is not afraid to snark back at him, and he's clearly kind of afraid of her, and it's very funny. But he also will make the most insulting, snarky comments about her when he can find the chance.
Mm-hmm.
And she will give him looks like, really? Really? This is what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what he does.
It's great.
And he's great at it.
He's so good. He's apparently very much like Yaskier in real life, too.
Oh, nice.
He seems lovely. All right. Gabby's number 9 is Nikesh Patel from Four Weddings and a Funeral. She says that he's one of her new rom-com hunks. And he was just so lovable and sweet in Four Weddings and a Funeral that she had to put him on the list.
Word.
My number 9, we're going to go back to The Witcher because my number 9 is Anya Chalotra.
I'm surprised she is low enough on this list. I thought she'd be
Dude,
higher up.
she just got added to this list like a few days ago.
Yo, same for Joey Beatty.
Yeah.
It's like 2 days ago.
If my list wasn't so like it was already just so set
Right,
that I was
right.
just like, Anya has to be on here, but she can't go too much higher than where she is. But yeah, she plays Yennefer of Vengerberg on Netflix's The Witcher. She also, I just recently discovered and got super excited because I'm a huge fan of The Legend of Robin Hood, and she plays Robin Locksley on YouTube's Sherwood. So now I need to go find where I can find that without having YouTube Premium.
Oh, that's what you were asking about.
Yes, she is on an animated series called Sherwood where she plays Robin, and I love Robin Hood because Robin Hood's great. So, and it also takes place, it's like a futuristic post-apocalyptic 23rd century TV show, and she's like a 14-year-old hacker. It's great. I'm about it. I watched the first episode because the first episode's for free.
Nice.
Some of the animation needs to be worked on, but I'm having a fun time watching it, and her voice is... She has such a nice voice for voice animation, but she's mainly on this list for The Witcher. Such a wonderful performance for somebody who is a newcomer. She completely transforms into Yennefer. Like, no matter
Transforms is magic.
no matter what phase of the character that she's in, whether she's in like the deformed, insecure teenager phase or the I'm a powerful witch and I'm so over my life phase, like she is so like in those characters.
It's hard for me to believe that they're the same person.
Exactly. It's
Because they're
it's crazy.
such different characters.
And which is why I admire her, because she plays both sides of that character very, very well.
Yeah, she really does.
She embodies them so well. And she's 23. And she looks like she's 23 if you see her outside of character. But when you see her as Yennefer, I totally believe that she's a woman who has been living for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, you look older. Like, I suddenly don't believe that you're a 23. Like, people have said that she looks youthful, which I think works for the character because Yen, I guess she's like immortal or something. She doesn't age. But like, she doesn't look like Anya Chalotra anymore. She looks like somebody else. She's very expressive with her face when she's acting. She has like some great facial expressions, some real meme-worthy stuff there. And she can sing, which I just recently discovered. She has not sung on the show, but she sang in a play that she was in, and I found a clip of that on YouTube. She has a phenomenal voice, so if they could just find a random reason for Yen to sing, I'd be down for it. But Joey Beatty has mentioned that she sings really well.
Here is the thing.
What?
Witcher could totally do a musical episode.
Oh, totally. Just don't have Geralt sing. Just everybody else around him is singing.
Oh, absolutely,
And he
yeah.
has to stop it.
That would work really well.
I want to see if I can find the quote that. Okay, so Joey Beatty, who was your number 9, said, "Okay, so I turn up on set and I'm like, I'm the bard. I'm the one who sings. Anya and I got quite drunk and were just off the bat with a guitar, and she started singing. And I was like, why am I the one who's doing all the songs? She sings astonishingly. She's one of the most incredible singers I've ever heard.
Well, all right then.
Let's get a duet going between Yennefer and Jaskier, guys. It's the duet that we deserve. But I think her standout scenes are all of them on the show. But if I had to get very specific, I would say it's probably like most of episode 3, the monologue that she has in episode 4 to the dead baby, and the end of episode 8, and also like anything with Geralt in episodes 5 and 6. She's really good, guys. She's just really good.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said the monologue to the dead baby?
Yeah,
Yes.
the baby is dead at the
Okay.
time.
The baby is dead. She tried to save the baby. She did not succeed.
Word.
And then, as you do, you're going to monologue to the baby, even though it can't hear you because it's dead.
All right, just thought I'd clarify that.
Yeah.
It was a sad moment, but I think it's the scene that they played at Comic-Con, and it really got her. That's when people started kind of taking notice that she might actually be like a really good part of the show, because she was getting a lot of racist hatred because she is not white.
What a depressing thing to play at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't know why you would choose that scene
Are you
and
guys
not
ready for The
literally
Witcher?
anything else.
Dead baby, here you go.
Here you go. Actually, you know what? Did they play that scene? No, it had to have been that scene because that's episode 4. They didn't play the pilot. I don't know if they had a scene for each character or what, but that was the scene that they played for Yen. So it was like the first thing most people would ever see. Enya and Dallas, number 8.
My number 8 is Dwayne Johnson for
Hello.
Fighting With My Family, Hobbs and Shaw.
Was Fighting With My Family last year?
It
The
was.
show was. And Jumanji: The Next Level. So Dwayne Johnson,
So many movies.
right? He was a busy man.
Although I'm looking at my list and I've got a couple of people on here who I'm just like, wow, how did you finish all these?
Yeah, Fighting With My Family, he's just playing himself in a couple scenes. He's not a huge role, so I assume it didn't take very long. But him being himself is like
A good thing.
my favorite thing. I'm honestly surprised he's this low on the list, because if it was just on based on how much I like these people, he'd probably be way higher.
Oh, I was looking at my list and I was like, you know what? There are some people I should have, maybe
Yeah.
I'm moving around. And I was like, no, but this is based on this year.
Yeah, I was like,
not
I gotta
overall.
do what they did this year and blah 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 blah. But Hobbs and Shaw, I went into that movie. I don't know what I expected, but I was just like, well, this is gonna be some nonsense. I'll probably enjoy the ride. Dwayne Johnson is dangerously charismatic.
Yes.
It's the best way I can put that, because
Dude, put him, Will Smith, and Tom Holland in a movie together, and it's just the most charisma you will ever get in a movie.
super weird, but I'd definitely watch it. But he's doing things in this movie that I have my own issues with the Fast and Furious franchise, and this movie contains most of them. But you focus it on Luke Hobbs, and I'm with it. This
Oh
movie
my
was almost
gosh.
on my favorite movies of the year list, and it moved down as the year went on.
I think it was on my honorary mentions list.
Yeah,
Because I love the Fast and Furious series.
yeah, and he's just so great. And also Jumanji: The Next Level, when he's playing Danny DeVito, it's like,
Of
come on,
course.
like
yeah.
he's just,
That accent that he does.
oh
for,
my god, it's so ridiculous.
Most of the movie.
And that's a character that I think I could see why people could get tired of it, because you're just playing an old man who doesn't hear well
Yeah.
and kind of yells a lot. But it's Dwayne Johnson. I couldn't be mad. Couldn't be mad at it. It's like, yo, I watch this man do anything.
And him and Kevin Hart continuously playing off of each other so
Always
well.
great. Always great. And Jason Statham and Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
They played off each other very well.
They do too. Yeah.
But yeah, he is just a mountain of charisma.
And he's getting ready to start on Black Adam. So
Oh, yes. I can't wait, because that got cast seemingly 25
years
freaking
ago.
years ago.
I think it's been like 6 years.
They cast it so long ago, to the point where we didn't know a Shazam movie was coming out, but they were like, oh yeah, The Rock is Black Adam.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
cool.
that casting announcement came out in like 2014.
And then Shazam came out, and I was like, where's Black Adam?
Not in this movie.
Not at all.
Not to be found. Although he did produce that movie.
Right.
He and Danny Garcia, who is his producing partner, ex-wife, and Henry Cavill's manager or agent. It's one of those two.
Being famous must be interesting. Seems like they all know each other in some capacity.
I mean, they still have a good relationship. They're working together and making fantastic movies while they do it. So
I'm with it. Keep on keeping on. Colin, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Emilia Clarke.
Skip.
I figured.
Yeah. Shoot, hold on. I gotta find Gabby's number 8. Gabby's number 8 is Mackenzie Davis, who played Grace in Terminator Dark Fate. She said that she played such a badass and she respects the crap out of her.
I feel it.
I do too. My number 8 is Naomi Scott, who played Princess Jasmine in Aladdin and Elena Houghlin in Charlie's Angels. She was number 4 on IMDb's top 10 stars of 2019. She played 2 very different characters this year, but both of them were very good and very fun characters. I had a great time whenever I was watching her on screen this year.
Very surprised that she's 8 and not like somewhere in the top 5.
Like I said, I got a lot. There's a lot happening on this list, guys.
Fair.
There's a lot. Also, another one of my favorite Indian actresses now that I have found Anya Chalotra.
Nice.
I wish I had found Anya before we did that Pride and Prejudice fan cast. I would have cast her instead because she looks younger. But yeah, anyway, Naomi, like her character as Elena is like super nerdy and resourceful and obviously contemporary. Whereas Jasmine is just this. Jasmine's an iconic role, man, and to step into that has got to be a lot of pressure. And I think she nails that role. She does a really good job, and I think she surprised a lot of people. I know a lot of people were not happy with her casting, and were very much doubtful, but I think she does a great job in it. I mean, she plays the character as Jasmine should be. She's independent, she's assertive, she's warm, but she's also vulnerable. Her standout moments in Aladdin, obviously Speechless, which they did that scene twice because it's a one shot. So they only shot it twice, and the first time they shot it, she sang it live.
Nice.
So I'm always wondering. I'm like, did you guys use the live one or did you guys use the recorded one? I'm hoping they used the live one because she's so good. She's such a fantastic singer. I've been a fan of hers for years, and her music is just incredible, and her acting is great. But also the jam scene, which Will, Mina, and Naomi and Nassim Pedrad ad-libbed.
Oh wait, I remember now. Yeah, that was funny.
Jams. It is dark and it is cold, but I prefer it to this.
Oh, well.
Yeah, her, what are you planning to buy me? Yes. I mean, no.
Oh, God, that was so uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable, but it's to know that is an improv scene between the 4 of them.
Yeah.
That's impressive because that's the funniest part of the entire movie.
They did their thing.
But yeah, my number 8, Naomi Scott. I'm so very proud of her. I'm sad that she doesn't get to be a Power Ranger anymore. Dallas, number 7.
Number 7 is Chris Evans for Avengers Endgame and Knives Out.
I don't have that.
You know what?
I don't have that. Continue.
Yeah.
It's not on Gabby's list either. So
Surprisingly, like I thought.
To be fair, I also don't know what's on the rest of her list though, so I can't skip anybody.
Is she what? Oh. Did she send them like piece by piece?
No. She sent me the list. I just haven't looked at it.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
just
cool.
going from
Suspense.
the bottom up. Yeah.
That's fair.
Because I don't want to know what it is.
But yeah, that makes sense.
But Chris Evans.
I was 100% ready for Gabby to skip me if she was here when I said Chris Evans at number 7.
Nope.
And then she put him at
you
the
would
bottom.
have found out. You would have found out that he was honorary, and you'd have been like, "What?"
I am shocked. But
I am shocked and appalled.
Honestly, he wasn't even on my list. For some reason, I just kind of forgot to put him there for a while because, as I said in my favorite characters list, Captain America is one of my favorite parts of Endgame.
Yeah.
And Chris Evans is a huge part of that because he's Captain America. And then he had the best line in Knives Out to me, which is, I think this could be the best thing for all of you. And
he's got a lot of great lines in that movie.
He's so great.
His attitude in that movie, just in general.
Yeah, and I think those two roles for him,
they're also polar opposites.
It's such a show of range that it's perfect.
Yeah.
Because
Chris
you
Evans,
watch the Boy Scout Captain America.
Yeah.
And then you watch he's just the worst in Knives Out. But he's so good at both. He's
the douchebag that you might want to party with, but you don't really want to hang out with him.
Yeah, which is funny because that was his role a lot before he was Captain America.
Yes.
So when Knives Out came out and the trailer came out, I was like, oh, he's going back to, he's the snarky one.
He's going back to his roots.
Mm-hmm.
He's going back to his Johnny Storm days.
Yeah, Johnny Storm, all of that. And he plays it very well. Like, oh my God. I'm just thinking about him and Scott Pilgrim. He's the skateboarding actor.
With Brie Larson, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that movie's cast is amazing. But this isn't about that. At some point, I'll find a way for us to do an episode on that movie because I love that freaking movie.
Huntress is in there. Superman's in there.
Everybody's in there.
It's a lot of future superheroes.
As it should be. But yeah, he's also super charismatic. In Gabby's honor, I will bring up the sweater that he wore. I don't care about that sweater.
I don't either.
But people make a big deal about that sweater. I don't care. But
I get it. It looks like a comfortable sweater, but I'm not
it's
obsessing
like a very
over
good
it.
sweater. Like, yeah, you know, it's New England. They
It
be
looks
cold
like a
out
sweater.
there. It looks like a sweater to me. I'm sorry. I'm probably upsetting the people like Gabby who are very obsessed with the sweater. I apologize to the sweater. You guys are cool.
But he's really great in both of the roles that he did this year.
He is.
He's always been really good at being Captain America.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see him play an asshole again.
Yeah, and I think this was him at his most Captain America. You know, strapping the shield to his injured arm and
I can do this all day.
ready to fight a bunch of CGI aliens. After fighting himself earlier in the movie.
You know,
He's just...
sometimes it'd be like that.
It'd be like that sometimes.
And
And Chris Evans is that dude. When it be like that, that's who you call. Colin.
number 7?
Number
Who do you call when it be like that?
7.
Not Chris Evans.
My therapist? I don't know. Number 7 is Regina King.
Hey, that's a good choice.
Honestly, if there's a top 10 list of my favorite actors just
In general?
ever, Regina King is on it.
Yo, she's
Man.
amazing on Watchmen this last year.
She really is
Amazing in life.
Like,
That's true.
I mean, yeah, but like, she kind of carries that show for the most part.
She has to. She's
Yeah, she does,
the
and
lead.
it works so well. Like every time we're focused on her, especially in the earlier episodes where you don't really know what's going on with her, she's just so interesting. Like I just want to see what she's gonna do and who she is as a person, and like the way she interacts with like especially Jean Smart, Laurie Blake.
Laurie Blake.
Yeah,
Kim Possible's mom, for those who didn't know.
Yes, that is her.
like the way they play off of each other is really good.
I think Regina King just plays off of everybody on this show.
Well, I
really
mean, yeah,
well.
that too.
She's
She's just great.
She's amazing. But yes, her and Jean Smart's relationship on the show is very intriguing,
Mhm.
especially when I think it becomes even more intriguing when you get to the end of the show and you know who these two people are and how they sort of relate to each other
Sure, yeah,
in a sense, without actually relating to each other.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
get it.
She's amazing on that show.
yeah.
That whole show is just fantastic.
It's
I
funny
was
'cause
kind of lukewarm on it, but she is great.
I
she
mean-
is fantastic.
Thematically, it's so great. The writing is so great. Like it just touches on so many things that most TV shows would not touch on. And Regina King being the lead also just makes it that much better because of the story that they're telling. But yeah, that show made me want to reread the graphic novel as well as rewatch the show. So
How many episodes are in the first?
8.
I guess what I thought. So I'm like 5/8.
There
of
may
the way
not
through.
be any more seasons. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, just talking about their dynamic, her and Jean Smart. I 100% was just waiting for her to punch her at one point.
Oh yeah,
Like the way that
both of them. It just feels like both of them are just waiting to punch one another.
right, like the way that
absolutely.
they interact, especially in the beginning when they first meet each other. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yo, when is Regina King gonna smack this woman? And I get why she doesn't, but man,
Like you're waiting for it. Also, her
Mhm.
costume on that show.
Oh man,
what's her name? Sister Knight.
Sister Night, that
Sister
costume is so cool.
She looks cool in it,
Yeah, she really does.
and she like carries herself so well in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's also part of the. It's also part of the acting, man. Like the physical performance.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've wondered about Regina King is, because I know her mostly from the Boondocks, and I've seen her in things like Beale Street, and
Friday.
Yeah, like Poetic Justice, things of that nature. So I was wondered, like, how would she do in the superhero type role?
Yeah, there's so much work that goes into being. I feel like a lot of people downplay superhero roles because they have become so common. But
Right.
there's so much that you have to
There's
bring
a lot
into
that
it.
goes into it.
You have
I'm
to be
like-
able to act at least decently well. But there's also a physicality that comes with it. Every person who plays a superhero has to get into shape, and there's
Yeah,
you
and
gotta
even if
carry
you're not
yourself.
doing all the stunts yourself, you have to be believable. Like, have to believe that you can do these things. You have
Yeah.
to portray it in a way that seems believable to me.
You have to carry yourself in a manner that
Yes.
a superhero would carry themselves physically.
And in a past life, we recorded an X-Men fan cast, and I did cast her as Storm.
We were gonna come back and recap that, guys, when we finally do our X-Men fan cast in a couple of months.
Yes, that's somewhere on the internet, but we don't talk about that anymore. But yeah, back then I was wondering, like, could Regina King pull this off? And she 100% can.
Absolutely.
She's one of my favorite people, and she's Colin's number 7 of the year. She's who Colin calls when it be like that.
You know what? I would call Regina King if it'd be like that.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because if she's not gonna Sister Knight it, like her role in Beale Street, it's 100%. She's like that older aunt who you call when it be like that.
Or she could just Huey or Riley this, and I would be okay with it.
Preferably Huey.
Preferably Huey, but Riley's the last resort.
Riley's gonna make it worse.
Dear Santa.
Exactly.
All right, Gabby's number 7 is Kat Dennings from the show Dollface. She carries the show and did such an amazing job. it brought Gabby so much light when she was super duper sick with the flu. Mind you guys, I'm just reading these off a text message.
That makes sense.
So my number 7 is Zendaya, who plays MJ in Spider-Man Far From Home, and Rue Bennett in HBO's Euphoria.
Oh, yeah, Euphoria was last year, too.
It was indeed.
It was a long year.
It was. I was really glad that she got to have a bigger role in the Spider-Man movie, which I kind of figured she would, because the first movie she didn't have a big one. And you kind of don't cast somebody like Zendaya, who has a name, even though it's mostly for kids shows.
Right.
But she had more of a name than anybody else in the kid
You also
cast.
don't cast her as one of the most important characters in the Spider-Man history and then not give her much to do. Like,
to be fair, we didn't know who she was, though, when she got cast. But we knew that she had a name, and the rest of the cast didn't. Tom Holland only had a name because he was Spider-Man in Civil War at that point. So I was really glad that she got to do more in this one, and she got to show off how like a likable MJ, because I know that there were a few people who didn't find her quite likable in Homecoming. I did. I loved her. But she got to show off how
I see
likable.
both sides of that coin.
She got to be likable MJ while also still getting to play those really strange personality quirks that MJ has in this series. Like, she still got to be kind of morbid. She still got to be kind of like, she still got like a mean streak to her. But you like her, even though she's got these things, because Peter likes her. And there's something about her that just you gravitate to, because you're just like, all right, you're a little strange, but like, I want to hang out with you. Something about you seems really cool. And I was really glad that that's kind of what it was like in this movie. But also, she's a complete and total nerd. Yeah. Which is also in the first movie, too. Like, she still has all the character traits that we saw in Homecoming. It's just this time around, you get to see more of her. And it feels more like a full character, especially in the eyes of Peter. But her role as Rue Bennett, MJ's great, but her role as Rue Bennett, dear God, this girl shines on Euphoria. Like, nobody's business. Like, the moment that show was over, I was like, she's on my actor list. There is no question. I think the moment episode 4 ended, I was like, so where on the list is she? She's, God, this is an award-worthy performance. If you have not seen this show and you don't know what I mean, if you don't want to watch the show, please just see episode 4, the end of the episode. She's amazing. Rue is a departure from everything that we have seen Zendaya do, because most of us are used to her being on Disney Channel shows. She starred on 2 Disney Channel TV series, and then she did Spider-Man. Right. And so, she can't go quite as mature as what she does on Euphoria.
Yeah, we didn't see her wilding out.
Yeah, Rue is a drug addict who has so many problems and just needs a therapist. Does not have one, but needs one. Yikes. Kind of has a bit of a codependency. She has an addiction to drugs, and she decides to get off of them, and her coping mechanism is that she almost gets addicted to her friend Jules. And so it becomes sort of a codependent relationship on Jules at that point. But Jules is like, I don't want this responsibility of, if I'm not there for you, you're going to relapse. Yeah. That's not something I can have on me. So it's a really complicated relationship, but God, do I love it. It's such a good show, man. And she's just, she's so good. She's just so good.
Demi just has a lot of feelings.
I do. I have a lot of feelings about just the whole cast is really good, but Zendaya is the one who really carries it, because she's the lead character, because she's the person who's narrating the show, who's guiding you through this world of Euphoria. She's spectacular at it. And I think the standout scene is the scene that I think she deserves an award for in I believe it is episode 4. She's trying to get Fez, her drug dealer, to open his door and sell to her. And he won't open the door. And so she spends like a full minute just banging on his door trying to get him to come out. And you just see that scene, and it is heart-wrenching. It is, God, I felt so bad. I was like, you don't need more drugs. You don't. You already overdosed once. I need you to calm down. Please stop.
That's gracious.
But yeah, it's so great. Such a great show. Cinematography is legit, literally every episode, and Zendaya is a fantastic actress, and I can't wait to see more of her in Euphoria season 2. It's gonna be fantastic. Number 6, Dallas.
Number 6. My number 6 is an honorable mention from my last year's list.
Nice.
Tom Holland.
Hey.
My boy Tom Holland from Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spies in Disguise.
That's funny. We went from Zendaya to Tom.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about Peter Parker. Let's take it back because then you took it to drugs and addiction and sadness. Now we get to be happy again. Also, Tom Holland is in 3 movies. In one of these movies, he says the phrase 50 Shades of Yay. And honestly, I think that's all that needs to be said about why Tom Holland is on my actors list. But I'll say more. He is probably one of the most likable people.
Yes, he
to
is.
come out, like, in recent years, like I
more
said, breakout actors.
Put Dwayne Johnson, Will Smith, and Tom Holland in a movie.
Which is funny because that video on YouTube where Will Smith takes Tom Holland to an escape room.
Yes.
I was like, yo, I don't even like escape rooms, but I want to be there with them just because they just seem like they're having so much fun. And that's part of the reason why I love the movie Spies in the Sky so much, is because those two together, the way they play off each other.
Even though they had never met.
They had never met. And it made me so sad because I was like, I was just hoping that they would be in a room like we are with microphones saying their lines off each other. But it's like, no,
They're
making
both
movies.
busy men.
Yeah, from different countries. It's like making movies isn't what I thought it would be.
Tom Holland is definitely one of the best young actors that's come out in recent years too.
Yeah, definitely. And the last 2 Avengers games, he's almost made me cry both times.
I'm just
talking to freaking Tony Stark every time.
It's what he does best, guys.
It's just like, come on, man. Just give me a break, Tom.
And the first time he was improvising.
Right. It's like,
You bastards.
And I was like, okay, fine. They did it last time. They're not going to do it again. And then, nope, this time Tony's going to die. And now Tom's going to be sad about it. And I'm going to break.
But then we're going to give you a full Spider-Man movie. And we're going to give you another scene where he has a breakdown.
And he's so good. And all these movies, like in Endgame, he doesn't have a lot to do, obviously.
Yeah.
Because he shows up in that badass battle. But even when he does, just the little things that he does as Spider-Man.
When he's cowering on the floor with the gauntlet and, hey, Peter Parker,
exactly.
You got something for me?
Like that whole interaction is great. Him just showing up like, oh my God, I don't know what happened, but like Doctor Strange is there. And then when Tony hugs him, he's like, oh, this is nice. And it's just like Tom Holland is, we need to protect this boy at all costs. And
that's why the Sony Disney deal hurt so bad, man. It just, you knew that Tom was hurting even if you didn't know Tom was hurting. Like,
yeah,
he didn't have to say it. You just knew.
It's just like, I just want to hug this kid
all the time.
And he's not even a kid; he's in his 20s, but he just has that like Peter Parker-ness to him.
He's a kid to me,
right,
guys.
And then Far From Home, he obviously is the protagonist, so he has to
he carries
shine in that movie. It's his movie, and he does everything perfectly. Like since he got cast as Peter Parker, he's been the perfect Peter Parker.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's just something about him. He just shines as Peter. No matter which movie he's in, no matter how much screen time he has.
Right.
Civil War, he's still like, oh my gosh, we're so impressed because like he's great. Nobody knew what to expect out of this kid when Civil War came out, and you come out of that theater, and if Spider-Man's not one of your favorite characters in that movie, I'm surprised because he's incredible.
He is,
for like the 5 minutes he's on screen.
And he plays every stage of Peter perfectly. Like from Civil War as like the new kid who is still kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
By the time Far From Home ends,
he's Spider-Man. Yeah.
Completely competent.
Yes.
Like he stops the dude from shooting him at point blank range with his Spidey sense without looking at. Like that's amazing. And Tom Holland's believable in every aspect of it because he's a really good freaking actor.
He was born to play Spider-Man.
He's also, these aren't all the movies he was in. This is everything I saw him in this year. But he was also in that movie, I think it's called The Current War. It's about like Nikola Tesla.
Did that come out?
Did it not come out?
I don't remember
it coming out. I was seeing trailers
out.
for it all through last year.
I believe it did. It got like dropped from the schedule when the Weinstein stuff happened, but I think it did eventually come out.
Okay, because I saw a bunch of trailers and then I didn't see any trailers.
Well, yeah, there were a bunch of trailers and then they delayed it, and then there were a bunch of trailers again. But I was like, I still haven't seen this movie come out. So
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it didn't. It doesn't matter. I wasn't gonna watch it. But if I was gonna watch it, it would be for Tom Holland because he's great. Yeah, I think I said enough.
The Current War came out on October 25th, 2019.
Beautiful. It did come out.
No, I don't remember that.
This boy made 4 movies this year. And that's assuming that's
he's
everything.
On it. To be fair, Current War was shot years ago, though. So
yeah, I think they released it like somewhere, like
its original release date was 2017.
Yeah, so I don't know why I was seeing so many trailers.
Its box office, its budget was $30 million. Its box office, 11.3.
That's because they
leave them alone.
They buried that movie.
No, I'm on the Wikipedia and here it is. Like,
you gotta put their business out there like that.
Well, I mean,
it's easily accessible
on the Wikipedia. It's not. I'm not even scrolling down to like the details. It's in the
right
initial.
There. It's in like that little.
Hey,
that
they did not do well.
But everything else that Tom Holland does typically does very well.
Leave the current world
Except
alone.
for freaking Uncharted, which is never going to come out at this point. So
I mean,
That's
hey.
okay.
But yeah, there's a reason that they call it Tom Holland's Uncharted movie. Moving on, Colin.
Onward's coming soon. Colin.
Hey.
Oh yeah, he's in that. What number are we on?
6.
Cool. My number 6 is another twofer. It's Daniel Kaluuya and Jodie Turner-Smith for
Fair.
Clean and Slim.
Dope.
That's another one where like the whole thing revolves around them. So if that didn't work, it really wouldn't work.
Yeah,
And
that
it works.
happens. Sometimes you'd be like, if these two don't get along well, then like
Yeah.
kind of ruins the whole movie, doesn't it?
Especially with a movie that's as serious as this one is, like you really that's gotta work.
Jimmy, did you see it?
I did not.
Okay. It was
You
funny
should.
because like them not getting along well is kind of the whole
Well, I
thing.
mean, yeah,
Well, yeah, but they gotta have chemistry while they're
sell
not
that
getting along.
not getting along well.
Yeah,
Later,
so
later
bad.
on when they
well.
have to get along.
Yeah, exactly. You have to believe all of it.
I believe it.
As you should.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both great.
Daniel
Uh,
Kaluuya is typically great. I've never seen Jodie Turner-Smith in anything.
I don't
This
know if
might have been
anyone
her
had-
first role.
I think it
'Cause
is
I
her
think
first
when they
role.
announced it was the and introducing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
this is her
they kept
first
saying
role.
introducing Jodie Turner-Smith. And she
Which
was
usually
great.
means she's just been in smaller stuff until now.
Mm.
Right. And it's probably another credit to the actress. Her character got on my nerves for a lot of that movie.
Huh.
Mostly the beginning. Whether she was playing the version that really got on my nerves
Mhm.
or like the version toward the end where it's like, I just want all the good things to happen to you guys. She was perfect as both. And for someone who I've never seen before to like come on the scene like that, it's like, yo, you doing your thing. I knew Daniel Kaluuya was great already.
That's how I feel about Anya Chalotra.
Right. So it's always refreshing to see someone new
Yeah.
just shine.
That's why I always love really obscure actors.
Mm-hmm.
I love them because I see them in roles and I'm just like, oh, you're so good.
Mhm.
Like, now I gotta follow you.
Right. And then you
another-
get to see them progress.
Yeah.
That's honestly how I feel about Ana de Armas because
Exactly.
like everyone's seeing her now in Knives Out and then in Blade Runner. I think the
Blade-
first thing I saw her in was War Dogs. She was playing Miles Teller's
That's
girlfriend or
right.
something.
She's in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that movie.
Was it War Dog? Yes.
Yes.
She was. And I was like, yo, who is this? She's very pretty. And I 100% feel bad
He's
for
not
her.
wrong.
No, not at all.
Right, but like, were you impressed by her acting, or were you just going, "Oh, she's pretty"?
I'd say it was about, I don't want to say half and half. I don't know. There's something about her, like, it's a very small role.
Mm.
But the way she plays it.
It's like I said, she's magnetic.
Yeah. And I was just like, I feel for this woman.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she has more than like 7 lines at this point. But
The thing about Ana de Armas, or we shouldn't be going back to Ana de Armas, but she draws you in. Something about her on screen draws you in.
yeah, she's
She's
great.
one of those actors. But back to Jodie Turner-Smith,
And Daniel Kaluuya.
who you were comparing her to.
Well, just the experience of seeing someone
Yeah.
new and then, because at this point we haven't seen Jodie Turner-Smith like rise through all the other movies yet.
Not yet.
Although she's the star of this movie, like she's one of the titular characters.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a different situation.
I'm sure that she's going to get her chance to, though. I feel like I heard recently that she got cast in something.
I'm with it. Hopefully she will, because she's great. And so is Daniel Kaluuya. And that's why they're Colin's number 6. Together, even though they're 2 people.
Yeah, but they're a team up, so
That's fine. Yeah, it's not cheating, not really.
they are one. Gabby's number 6 is Aquafina because she deserves an Oscar for The Farewell, and she stands.
All right. Aquafina.
My number 6 is Tessa Thompson, who was also on my list last year. I think around the same area too,
Nice.
somewhere in this region of the list. Tessa Thompson, who played Valkyrie in Avengers Endgame, Agent M in Men in Black International,
Oh, yeah.
Lady in Lady and the Tramp, and Ollie in Little Woods. There you go,
She
4
was-
movies.
She was busy.
busy. I'm gonna go through each role. Valkyrie doesn't do much, but I love when she's on screen, and I love what Tessa gets to do with her when she's on screen.
Fair.
And I'm looking forward to what comes up next in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Same.
Agent M was a really fun and different character for the Men in Black universe because it was a character who knew about aliens and didn't get neuralized.
Yeah, she was like a Men in Black fan.
Yeah, so she was a fan who also just wanted to be an agent and like worked her way to becoming an agent until finally she was just like, all right, y'all just gonna give me a job. Like, this is a problem. And I really kind of wish that movie had done a little bit better just so I could get another movie with Will Smith in it and trying to match make H and M while trying to save the world because it would be great.
Honestly, I'd take any sequel that brings him back to Men in Black.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I don't care what the plot is.
But her and Chris Hemsworth were great together
Yeah.
once more.
They work together really well.
her voice work in Lady and the Tramp is freaking adorable. Oh my gosh, it's so cute, and I loved every second of it. Like, she's so cute. I'm so used to Tessa, and the funny thing is, Lady is a sassy character, but I'm so used to Tessa being like more of an assertive sassy character.
Yeah.
Where Lady is far more like ladylike, I guess.
All right.
And so it's just really funny.
No pun intended.
Haha. No, totally intended. But she's mainly
true.
on my list for Little Woods, and Little Woods is just such a dramatic movie. And so it's a really good role for her because she's serious all throughout the movie. And the movie it rests on her and Lily James, but it's more like it might be like a 60-40 split where 60% of it really relies on Tessa Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lily's in it less than Tessa is. But like, you really root for her character. Like, yes, this is a character who's been to jail and is on probation, but you really want her.
Yeah.
It's like Colin in Blind Spotting.
Oh, gotcha.
Where you're like, I really want you to make it off of probation without getting into trouble.
Yes.
But like, keep finding your way into trouble.
It's like, Colin, please stop hanging out with this
Except,
white boy.
Yeah, except in Ollie's story, Ollie is just like, I need money, so I'm gonna put myself into a situation that could put me back in jail. But like, you're like, but you have to. You don't have a choice. Like, you need the money or else you're gonna lose the house. Your sister needs the house. Like, you need to do all this stuff.
I might be there soon if I don't get some more shifts coming up.
But yeah, it's a really raw performance, and I think it really reminds you of how versatile of an actor Tessa is.
Yeah.
Because Tessa's been doing a lot of blockbuster fun movies.
Yeah.
But then there are the times where you get to see her do stuff like Little Woods or like Dear White People, and you see her really get into like the more dramatic aspects of her role.
Or she'll be like, Sorry to Bother You, and just, that's the weirdest movie that's come out in a very long time.
Ever. And she's got really great chemistry with Lily James, who plays her sister. The standout scene for her is like almost any time she and Lily James get into any sort of debate or argument in the movie, because there's a lot, they clash quite a bit in this movie, and they're just always really good when they get into those modes, because that's where I think the emotion is really at its rawest for both of them. Dallas, number 5.
Number 5, we made it to the top 5, guys.
Hey, top five.
Not to be confused with Five Guys.
I have 5 on.
Top 5 Guys, get it? 5 Guys. It's a restaurant.
I got it.
It's
okay.
not important. Anyway, my number 5 is the only person on my list who's strictly there for voice acting. Paula Burrows, who plays Rayla on The Dragon Prince.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
oh my God, Rayla is one of my favorite characters, period. And when I was making this list, I was thinking about The Dragon Prince and how much I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, like, well, someone's got to be on the list from Dragon Prince, because, like, these actors are giving it their all.
Yeah.
And I think Rayla is the most impressive performance.
Okay.
Especially in 2019, we got 2 seasons of this show.
Oh, man.
For some reason. You know, in the first couple seasons, we get Rayla the warrior.
Yeah.
She's conflicted, and we see some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But in season 3, we see more of her backstory.
Yeah.
Where she comes from, the consequences of what she's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's this vulnerability. Yes.
Yeah. You said it right the first time. You had it.
I just hate that word. But to her, that it just hits. Paula Burrows portrays this character perfectly in the funny scenes, the action scenes, the romantic scenes, the sad scenes. Like, it's like, part of it is the voice, because, you know, it's animated. We just got a voice as far as the actress goes. But her performance that she does, and to be fair, Jack DeSena too. I don't really do the whole, like, the cast of so. I just sing
That's
them
why
out.
I put them in my honorary mentions.
Yeah. They're all great. Jack DeSena is fire on that show. Like, he's bringing all his soccer energy to Callum, and it's great. But I had to single one out, and it's Paula Burrows, because the way she plays Rayla, and every time she does human Rayla.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness gracious. It's a highlight. She's a highlight. She's great. And I want seasons, what are we on, 4 now?
5?
4 is next?
No.
They just did 3.
3 and 4.
They just, 2 and 3 came out in 2019.
I thought it was 3 and 4.
No.
Oh, it was 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, I'll take seasons 4 and 5 this year. I'm fine with it. Colin.
Me.
Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is April Bowlby, who plays Rita on Doom Patrol.
Yay.
Rita.
Yeah.
Rita.
She's really good.
She is really good. And, like, Rita, you know, has a lot of growth. And I feel like April Bowlby portrays that really well. I just like the way she does the, like, she's playing one of those characters who's like, I'm not going to tell you that I like you, but you know that I like you. But I can't show it because I'm too good for that.
She also has the hard job of kind of playing like there's an air, an attitude about playing an old school movie starlet.
Yeah.
Like there's an expectation about how you feel about their personality, how they're supposed to carry themselves.
Yeah.
And she has to do that, and I think she does it really well on the show.
Yeah, because back then, everyone kind of looked and sounded the same.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hate watching movies from that time. And there's some really good ones, but it's just like...
I was gonna say, I don't know, man. There are a few like old school actresses that I'm like, oh yeah.
See, the thing is,
that's it. Like Marilyn Monroe and Grace Kelly.
I see like clips of movies and it's like, did you grow these people in a lab? Like, why does everyone sound the same?
Well, yeah, they just all used to talk the same.
That's the thing is, like,
but how? How does that work?
That was the thing. Like they just, if you're an actor,
you had to talk like
part of
that.
practicing.
Hollywood
like
is a machine.
That.
And back then it was...
It had one setting.
Yeah.
And it was like, yes.
But also you only made so many movies every year.
That's true.
But it's just like, man, like I know there are some great actors and actresses from the past. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I've seen a bunch of Cary Grant movies. Dude was dope.
Cary Grant is great.
But man, there's just so many Cary Grant types and the Humphrey Bogarts and like...
That's the thing. They all had a type that they fit into because they played... Like, you had to deal with the studio. You played a certain role.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
they're like,
had
oh,
types.
this movie's popular, and it had a Humphrey Bogart in it. So now we need a guy to act like Humphrey Bogart in
or
our
you
movie.
just get Humphrey Bogart to do all those movies.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about her. April Bowlby has to be that.
Yeah, she has to be the Katharine Hepburn and all those actors trying to be Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah. So on top of, like, you know, just acting as a character who has, like, emotional growth and has to grow as a person, she also has to be... a classic.
Just to act like she's
She has to be
acting.
a classic starlet stuck in the contemporary times.
Which I think does make for a great juxtaposition.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see Doom Patrol doing literally anything.
Yeah.
But if they did an episode that was all in like her time period,
oh man,
that'd
be amazing.
I couldn't do it
I
because
would
they all
pay
sound like that.
so much. Yeah, but
it's so frustrating.
Okay, but like
I know Doom Patrol would do it in an interesting
put
way.
Jane in that time period, and
right? Yeah,
I'm 100% there.
Crazy Jane just throwing hands with all of these.
Cyborg would hate it.
Yeah,
I feel like they'd all hate it for different reasons.
No, Larry lived it. He'd be fine.
I don't know if he'd be fine. He wasn't fine when he was living it.
Yeah,
you're right, but he's now come to terms with who he is, so he might just be chill about it. He might be like, "Oh God, we have to do this again." Okay.
Ooh, yeah. I just there's a lot that could go wrong there. Anyway, she's great.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, jeez. Gabby's number 5 is Pedro Pascal.
Of course it is.
She said, "I respect the amount of acting he did, considering he was wearing a helmet." Oh, by the way,
The Mandalorian.
Yes, The Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian in The Mandalorian. She said, I respect the amount of acting he did, considering he was wearing a helmet the entire time. I understand why they chose someone as talented as Pascal, and I can't wait to see more of him in season 2.
I just want to say something about The Mandalorian. I didn't watch most of it. Like when Kayla was watching it.
Enough. We watched like the back half together.
When Kayla and or Colin were watching it, I'd like walk into the living room. Sometimes I'd stay, sometimes I'd go. But I saw a good amount. And one of my pet peeves in movies and TV is when you have a masked character, but they're like, oh man, we got to get the star power. We got to show their face. And then once their mask comes off,
the mask doesn't come back.
It just doesn't come back on, regardless of if it's for like anonymity purposes or protection. They're just like, well, you've already seen their face. Just don't use a mask ever again. I'm like, no, there's a narrative reason this person is wearing a mask or a helmet. Put it back on. And usually they look cooler with it. Mandalorian is like, you wear a helmet. You gonna wear this helmet. Like,
you gonna wear this helmet.
Yeah. Like, we're gonna take it off.
They are never gonna know if it's actually you under that helmet. You gonna wear it.
It's like, you gonna wear this helmet. They know it's you. That's all you need. Act with the helmet on.
And he acts really well with that helmet on.
And I respect it.
All right, my number 5, I debated whether or not I was going to put her higher, and I decided not to because my top 4 is kind of stuck, and she's most likely going to end up on my list again anyway because she was on my list last year. Lily James.
Oh, there we go.
Lily James.
Who played Ellie Appleton in Yesterday, Eve Harrington in All About Eve, which was a live theater production, and Deb in Little Woods. The thing about Lily that I've come to find is that she's just really good at finding the vulnerability and the emotion in her characters, even when she's just playing a supporting character.
Mm-hmm.
And this really applies to Ellie more so than the other 2 characters, because Ellie's a character who is clearly satisfied with the life that she's living. Like, she likes her job. Like, she's perfectly fine with the things that she's doing. Her main issue is that she is in love with her best friend. He doesn't realize that she's in love with her. That he's in love with.
She's in love with him?
Yes, got it.
She's in love with him. And he's about to take off and become a superstar. And she can't follow him. And it's like her main issue throughout that story. God, the emotion that she brings to a character who, like, her main job is that's her job mainly in this movie, which was a complaint one of my friends had about it. But I was like, she's a character who is satisfied with everything else in her life. And that's nice. It's nice to see a character who's just like, this is my life. I like my life. My life is perfectly fine. Like, yeah, I want to date you, but my life, everything else, it's perfectly fine. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Her standout moments in that movie, just that really get me. Oh my gosh, these 3 scenes kill me. It's the friend column scene where she's talking to him and she's asking him how she ended up basically being friend zoned by him, and basically admits to being in love with him like the night before he's about to leave to go on a tour.
Well, of course, you wouldn't do it at any more convenient of a time.
And he's just like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst timing ever. And like, I can't believe this is happening.
She did that on purpose.
Well, she's also drunk when she does it.
Honey.
The train station scene after they almost sleep together the night before, because that's again another like bad timing situation where he's just like, this could be a thing. Let's talk about it. And she's like, you have to fly out to LA right this very minute. And you can't be with me. And I need you to be with me. I can't be in this relationship where I can't follow you around. Like, that's not what this is. Such a good scene between the two of them. And the scene after he performs Help, where she comes to see him in the green room, no words are said at all in that scene. The looks on her face, the way that she moves her body, oh my gosh, it kills me every time because of how vulnerable Ellie is and how vulnerable Lily makes her, and the way that Himesh Patel plays off that with Lily. So earlier we were talking about that X-Men fan cast that that
yes,
happened.
We were.
I don't know if Dallas remembers this, but I said that I wanted to see Lily delve into her dark side because her characters are usually very just good people, very pure and light and like very likable.
Right.
I got my wish with All About Eve.
Nice.
Which also stars Gillian Anderson. So you start off the play, and like first off, this play is based off of a very old movie as well. But you start off the play really thinking that this girl is like Eve Harrington is just, she's so sweet. And she's like, you know, she worships the ground that Gillian Anderson's character walks on. Mm-hmm. Like, you're like, oh, this sweet girl from the country who just, you know, she wants to be part of the industry. She wants to get into acting. She seems so great. Not really realizing that this woman is a vicious viper because, oh my God, she is manipulative, ambitious. She's conniving and deceitful and duplicitous. Like, she's, God, like I was watching the play and it's going and I'm just like, you seem really sweet. Oh my gosh. And then I'm like, she does a couple things and I'm like, wait, are you doing that as a manipulate? Am I supposed to trust you? And then we keep getting further and I was like, oh no, you're awful. Oh my God. But like, I've never seen Lily do that.
Yeah.
I've never seen Lily be somebody who I'm meant to hate. And like, I do.
That's like, good. It's playing against type.
I'm like, oh, I hate it. But at the end of the play manages to kind of make you sympathize with her a little bit because she almost restarts a cycle that she and Gillian Anderson's character were in, except now she's Gillian Anderson.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, she's incredible in that role. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I was looking for. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see. It was like when Gabby was happy that Chris Evans was an asshole in Knives Out. Right. I was like, oh my gosh, Lily James is being like awful. And I love it. Like, I never get to see this. So yeah, it was really nice. And like, obviously stage Lily is very different than on-screen Lily because stage acting is more exaggerated. You know, people have to be able to see you from the back rows or whatever. But like, even her voice is just more exaggerated. She goes for like every so often she'll go for like a deeper, throaty type of tone that's very unlike Lily. And it's great. She is great.
Sorry, what was that last part?
No. And then another very different character from Ellie and Eve would be Deb. And Deb is a single mom who ends up pregnant by her deadbeat baby daddy again. So she has to decide whether she wants to keep the kid or abort the child. But either way, she needs money. And she doesn't have it, seeing as she's living in an RV in a Walmart parking lot.
Ooh.
She's definitely the irresponsible one out of her character and Tessa Thompson's character as the two sisters. And it's shown really well in the film. But you really want her to get her life together. And it's a darker role, but like it's not like Eve, where Eve is like, I fucking hate you. Like, Deb is like, I like you, but oh my gosh, can you just like get your life together? Another really raw performance out of this film. Lily and Tessa, once again, really good at bouncing off of each other. a lot of great argument scenes. But I think the scene that stands out for me was there's a scene where she gets into an argument over her baby daddy who's drunk because he just came out of a bar. And they're arguing over child support. Mm-hmm. And he basically starts like tossing the money on the ground. Ooh. And she doesn't go to pick it up while he's there. Mm-hmm. But once he walks away, she starts picking it up off the ground, and you can just see the desperation and the anger. And I just felt so bad.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like, you're just like, God, no, don't throw away your dignity for this. This is terrible.
Gotta get that money.
I was writing notes about each of these roles, and I was just like, bro, am I sure she doesn't go higher on my list? Because like these were great performances, just like three really great different performances. Then I looked at the rest of my list and I realized I couldn't do it. Number 4, Dallas.
Number 4 is an actor who I think is one of the greatest actors of our generation, based on 2 performances. One from this year, James McAvoy.
Oh gosh.
For Glass and It Chapter 2.
That was 2019.
Yeah, Glass came out, I think, in January.
It came out at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I think maybe one of the first movies I saw last year.
It was the first movie that we saw last year because we went together.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really great in Glass, man.
Yo, he is so good. I knew he was good because of Split. When you're going to have to play that many versions of...
But in Glass, he plays more versions.
And he does them in such a like fluid way.
Because there was that scene where the light flashes and then he's
that's
a new
honestly
one.
Like the standout scene of acting for me because like
of just acting, period.
Just acting, like the concept of acting.
Like, guys, this is acting.
This is acting. Show this in every acting class and tell them they're not going to be able to do it because it's ridiculous. That scene where the lights are flashing and he's going from alter to alter, personality to personality, different voice to different voice. Like some of them are men, some of them are older, some of them are women. They have different accents.
Some of them are children.
And he pulls them off so perfectly. And, oh man, toward the beginning of last year, if you would have asked me, I definitely would have said one of my favorite scenes of last year was, "We almost got you, bro."
Yes!
I don't know what character that was, but he was so good at it. And he just kept it going. And...
Oh, I forgot about that one.
It was great.
We almost got you, bro.
We almost got you, bro. He goes from like that American frat boy to like an angry Irish man. And honestly, that scene is just showing off because most of those alters aren't really part of the narrative at all. But the ones that are, like he plays Patricia to the point where you can almost forget that you're watching a middle-aged Scottish man play this role because he is so convincing as like a distinguished,
older woman,
calm, menacing older British woman. And that's such a weird sentence to say, but he's so good at it. And then playing Hedwig like an actual child.
I love Hedwig.
Plays it like an actual, to the point where Hedwig is adorable. He looks like James McAvoy in a tracksuit, but he's somehow adorable. The Beast is a literal monster.
And the Beast is he looks bigger than all of them. And
like just the way like his physical acting, I'm gonna be honest, even without It Chapter 2, James McAvoy was on this list. But he was great in that too. But let's talk about Glass some more.
You're just going to completely leave out X-Men Dark Phoenix? Or Dark Phoenix? Just Dark Phoenix?
I forgot that movie happened.
I think Disney wants us to forget it happened.
But let's say this about that movie. James McAvoy is not the reason it was so forgettable. Because he was great, as he always is.
You know what? Everybody in that movie, I feel, is great.
This is not the greatest movie.
It's not a good movie.
It's like, thank you for reminding me, Colin.
I forgot that movie happened.
Yeah, I saw him in 3 movies. Wow. I completely forgot about that movie. I didn't forget about Glass, which came out in January, but I forgot about Dark Phoenix.
I think Disney wanted you to forget about that movie.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to give you New Mutants. Don't think about Dark Phoenix.
They probably tried to like do it like the current war. Be like, hey, just release it low key. Play trailers and then stop playing trailers. Hope no one sees it, and then we just don't talk about it. Anyway, back to the good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, honestly, after I saw Split, I was like, yo, this dude, he's the best.
The funny thing is, I think I've been a fan of his since like 2005 because of Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because he plays Mr. Tumnus.
Oh my God, I forgot he was Mr. Tumnus. That's crazy. Oh man, this dude has all the range, and he shows it all this year or last year in Glass, and in It Chapter 2. He's great in that. You guys didn't see that movie, but he plays a character, Bill. You guys didn't see the first It either.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, the main kid, he's the grown-up version of the main kid.
Yeah.
The kid had a stutter.
Is that Jaden's character?
Yes, Jaden Martell.
Mm.
And as he grows up, he gets more confident. He actually plays a writer, which is funny. I think you would like the scene in the beginning because it's super meta. Like, it's a Warner Brothers movie, and he's writing a Warner Brothers movie, and they're making it, and he has trouble finishing, and they're like, yo, where that ending at? He was a novel writer as well. I see there's a lot of Stephen King in his character. And they're like, we need a new ending. He's like, just use one from my book. Like, nah, that ending's trash. So we need a new one. But none of that matters. What matters is they're having this good time. And then the scene when they start to all feel the fear again, like the way his stutter comes back is so convincing. Like, James McAvoy can play fear so well.
But he already showed us he can play everything else so well. So
Exactly. Like, you can be afraid, and you can be the thing that we're afraid of in Glass. Like, you're the actual monster. The dude is a master of acting. If it was based on like who I'm most impressed by, he'd be number 1 on the list. Probably every time any kind of Glass or Split comes out. But that's not the only criteria for my list. So he's number 4. Colin, who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Shore Agdashlu.
Oh, I know who that is.
I do not.
She's
Who's
on
that?
The Expanse.
She is on The Expanse. And I love her so much. Like, I just feel like
Christian.
it's one of those roles that you can tell that the actor is having fun in like every scene, every line she says.
Yeah.
Because she plays, a high-powered politician, and she just completely owns it. Everything about. I mean, it helps that like I want her closet. Her wardrobe is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
It is
But,
a fantastic closet.
Oh my god, just everything she wears is upsettingly good. But like, she's just so good at being like regal when she wants to be, but then like when it's time to like get stuff done and be,
Make the hard choices.
yeah, she will also do that. But then also like in the season that came out last year, she has to run for an election again. So she has to be the sort of smiling, happy politician that people want. And she's not very good at that, but she tries.
She's bad at it. So bad.
She's bad at it, but she still tries, and you can see that she's trying. And so it's like, it's kind of like, Shore Agdashu playing Christian, playing like a version of herself she isn't.
Yeah. Also, Dallas, you know who she is, but you probably wouldn't remember. She was on The Punisher. She played Dina Madani's mom.
You'd probably know her voice if you heard it.
Oh,
she
yeah.
has
You
one
heard her
of
voice.
the most distinctive voices I've
Such
ever
a distinctive
heard.
voice.
Okay. I vaguely remember Madani's mom.
But yeah, she played Madani's mom a couple years ago.
Word.
I was kind of sad that she didn't show up again for season 2, but it's fine. It's because Dina moved out and had her own apartment. But yeah, she's so great on The Expanse.
I love her so much. Like that, and like some of the voice acting she's done in the past. Like she's so good.
I'm just so excited for her character and Frankie's character, Bobby, to team up again. Just so excited.
Yeah.
So ready for that. Because they're so good together.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Gabby's number 4 is Jared Kiso from Letterkenny.
Hey, he's great.
She says he created my favorite show of the year, and he is super great in it as both Wayne and Shorzy. So
Shorzy.
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 Yes,
That's how you say that.
So I had to put him in at the top 4.
Yeah.
All right, now I gotta go find my top 4. My number 4 is Scarlett Johansson, who played Natasha Romanoff in Avengers Endgame, Rosie Betzler in Jojo Rabbit, and Nicole in Marriage Story. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Scarlett Johansson started as number 10 on my list.
Wow.
Was that before or after you had seen Marriage Story?
This was before. This was after Avengers came out. She was tied for number 10 with Tom Holland. And then I saw Jojo Rabbit, and she moved up to 7. And then I saw Marriage Story, and she moved up to 4. I think that just says a lot about everything Scarlett Johansson's been doing this year.
You're about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's just really interesting because these 3 characters are so very different. And I love the way that Scarlett chooses to play vulnerability depending on which character she's playing. Yeah. So like Natasha, her vulnerability is a lot more subtle. Like you see it on her face when she is being vulnerable, but she also is very quick to hide it, and she's really good at being able to hide it really quickly because she's doing it so subtly. But with like Nicole goes from like smiling in one scene and like literally like in the span of turning around she suddenly has a crying face on.
Ooh.
Like, I'm sobbing right now. And I'm just like, how? Scarlett, no. What is happening? But yeah, I've always enjoyed Scarlett's performance as Natasha Romanoff.
Same.
Yeah, she's at her best when the writing gives Natasha moments to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, for Endgame, it's the moment after she has that hollow meeting with the team.
Yeah.
After Rhodey tells her about Clint.
Yeah.
And she has that moment where she breaks down. And then Steve comes in, and then she suddenly like hardened Natasha.
Yeah, that's the
again.
point I was thinking of when you said Natasha like shows it in her face when she's telling Rhodey to check, and he's like, "We already know," and she's like, "Could you please check?" And like you can see her kind of like
she's on the verge of
she's
breaking.
like, she's breaking a little bit, but she's like, "Not yet, and not till you hang up."
Natasha is in Endgame. It always feels like she's. Until we get to the point where it's time to actually start doing the time traveling, she always feels like she's just on the verge. She is right at the edge, but she never quite... There's only one moment where she allows herself to break, and that's right before Steve comes in.
Right.
And even then when Steve comes in, she's like, nope.
Right.
Face back on.
Game
you
face.
know, we're good. We're fine. And even then she's still vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it's not as overt. But other moments like that are like the moment after... in the original Avengers movie where the Hulk chases her, she has that moment where she like breaks down and she's like in a corner or something, just like shaking and like freaking out.
Right.
And then they're like, "Yo, Barton's here. He's in compromise. Somebody needs to get him." Blah blah blah. And she's like, "I'm on it." And like, since that moment, I've been like, "Yo, Scarlett Johansson is like incredible," because like she for sure is just having a breakdown moment, and then her face just like. All right, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to go to work. And that's not all the time. Or like even after like Bruce tries to scare her in the first Avengers movie where he like just and she pulls her gun on him. First off, it's one of my favorite shots of the movie because the focus from the gun to her is fantastic.
Yeah.
But like her reaction to it, that genuine fear in her eyes, but that I'm going to shoot you right now because of what you just did. And he's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's just like, "I'm playing."
Honestly, that's when I realized I love Mark Ruffalo in this role because he's like, "What? Don't do that, man."
Yeah, but then when she puts the gun down, you can see her, and she's like, and she calls out for the rest of the team. She's like, "All right, you guys are good. Like, we're fine in here." And you see her visibly just go back to being the Natasha that we're used to.
Right.
She's just so. I love when these movies let her do that because she's really good in those moments. So those are her best moments, and I'm hoping that's what her movie has a lot of.
Yeah.
But yeah, Natasha's she's great. Also, Endgame is one of Natasha's best characterizations, so it's one of Scarlett's best performances as the character. Rosie Betzler is literally she's so precious.
This is Jojo Rabbit?
Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
This is Scarlett's second performance of the year. That made me cry. And, I remember coming out of the movie and being like, I need Scarlett Johansson to stop this year. It's too much.
And she didn't.
Yeah, no, she did. She didn't get me on
So
Marriage
she stopped
Story.
making you cry.
She stopped making me cry.
Got it.
She stopped. But I'm also pretty sure this is her first time playing a mom, and she does it. She's wonderful in it. She's played characters who look after children,
right?
But I think this is her first time legitimately playing a mom to a child.
Well, all right.
That she actually has to act against, and just she has this wonderful warmth that she brings to the role, as you should when you're playing a mom, and not just any mom, but a good mom. Rosie is a fantastic mom, especially in those moments where you get to see her act against Roman Griffin Davis and Thomas and Mackenzie, who are the two kids in the movie.
Right.
She's really great with them. And also in interviews, if you watch them do interviews together, she's always very considerate about letting them answer or giving them leeway to answer instead of having her answer because she's been doing this for years. She's
right. Let the kids shine.
Yeah, let the kids shine. She's really good at doing that. But also you feel her absence towards the end of the movie when she stops appearing, and in this situation that's kind of a good thing. It really works to the movie's justice because she is probably the warmest part of this movie, and she's just so great. And I'm also I love when Scarlett gets to be funny, and use her comedic chops. I loved Rough Night. I don't know, I don't think a lot of people saw that movie, but I love Rough Night.
I remember that movie. I didn't see it, but I remember it coming out.
I remember being so excited about that movie because I like whenever she's on SNL. So
okay.
I was like, oh, she used to be in a comedy. That's going to be great.
Is she in the main cast of Rough Night?
Yes. She's the main character.
I'm trying to think.
She's
who's is Kate McKinnon in that
Kate
movie?
McKinnon.
Okay.
Zoe Kravitz is in it.
Got it.
Yeah,
yes. Okay. I'm picturing the movie poster in my head. And I'm placing the people in the roles.
Yeah, she's really funny.
Okay.
But I like getting to see her do comedy. And I think the standout scenes for that movie are like basically anytime Rosie is talking to JoJo.
Yeah.
And just being a mom. And then she has a conversation with Elsa about what it means to be a woman. That is just amazing. And then Marriage Story is just a masterclass in acting. Period. Her and Adam Driver, man. Just, God. Oh my gosh. Just give them both the Oscars. Like this might be Scarlett Johansson's like best performance of her career. Because it doesn't feel like I'm watching two people act, which, you know, when you're watching a movie, like typically, no, you don't feel like you're watching two people act, but you know, like in the back of your mind that these two people are acting. With Marriage Story, it's just like, no, I'm just watching two people live their lives. I'm witnessing life as it happens as authentically as you can possibly witness it.
Right.
When you're giving a performance. And I think that's such a compliment to both her and Adam. They both really disappear into these characters. Like, I'm not looking at Kylo Ren and Natasha Romanoff. I'm looking at Nicole and Charlie, and they're both really great. And I think having Adam be the person that she has to play off her only improves her performance. It only makes her have to step up her game even more because he's already so great. So she has to be, you know, she also has to be great.
Yeah.
I think the standout moment for her in that movie is like the 7-minute, I think it's a 7-minute monologue. I know that it's 7 pages in the script.
Okay.
So.
Dang.
Yeah.
A 7-page monologue?
Yeah, it's like a 7-page monologue that she does when she meets Laura Dern's character at the beginning of the movie, but also the really climactic argument scene that everybody else has seen already.
Right.
But every scene in that movie is really well done by both her and Adam. So kudos to her. She had like a really great year, which is why I was like, nah, I got to keep her at number 4 because Scarlett was just every movie, just the acting just kept getting better.
Nice.
Number 3, top 3.
Top 3. There it is. My number 3 is also my number 3 from 2018.
Crazy.
It's crazy, right? Ryan Reynolds.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Detective Pikachu, Hobbs and Shaw, surprise, surprise, and 6 Underground.
I mean, Hobbs and Shaw was a surprise.
Yo, honestly, all right, I'm going to start with Detective Pikachu.
It
he has to
came
be
out
on
first.
my list because he's the reason that movie was on my list for a while for my favorite movies, because he is Detective Pikachu, and Detective Pikachu is the reason I love that movie. And that sounds simple because, you know, he's the titular character, but that's just such a weird movie. And I hate the villain, and I hate his plan,
But he's Bill Nighy. Sorry for anybody who hasn't seen that movie yet.
yeah, it's you'll get it. But yeah, Bill Nighy's great. That movie just goes off the rails at a certain point. But I love Ryan Reynolds, so I love the movie because it's funny. Hobbs and Shaw.
The biggest surprise.
It was, I don't know how to describe how I felt
I
sitting in the
was
theater.
so excited when I saw him pop up because I remember before the movie came out, you were like, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of on the fence about this movie.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and being like, oh, Dallas is going to like this movie now.
And you said something to me, but like vaguely enough that I didn't know what you were talking about.
I was like, you're going to like this movie a lot more than you think you are.
Yeah. So I was like, sitting with Kayla, I was like, yeah, you know, Demi said I'm going to like it. For some reason, I don't know why. And when you hear his voice from off screen, by the way, I was like, wait, am I hearing Deadpool right now?
Yes, you are.
Am I hearing Detective Pikachu? And the way he comes in, he elicits his reaction. It's like diegetic and non-diegetic because everyone in the audience is like, is that? And then the characters on screen are like, oh God, is that?
It's Ryan Reynolds.
Lucas Rebecca Hobbs. First off, this man's name is not Rebecca. Why are you saying that? Second, oh, why are you stealing the show like this? And he just comes in, suited up, looking good. And it's just full on Ryan Reynolds to the point where he's like sitting next to Hobbs' daughter. And she's like, who is this? And he's just like, move over. Go. And it's just like the whole scene is so ridiculous. And I love it so much. And it's just everything that I've come to love Ryan Reynolds for. And I thought that was going to be it. But he keeps coming back in the movie. He comes back in the after credit scene. He talks to, what's his name? Sugar Bear from Deadpool 2.
Oh, yeah.
Rob Delaney's character.
Yeah.
On the phone. And I'm like, he's in this movie too? Like, it was the beginning of the cameos.
Several people.
Yeah.
There were several cameos in that movie that I was just like, what?
And the cameos, like, elevated the movie for me.
You guys shouldn't have told me that Asa Gonzalez was in that movie. It just would have made me even more excited that her cameo scene.
Yeah. Could have been nice. Like, oh my God, it's Asa Gonzalez.
Just would have been like, oh my God.
Yeah.
All these people. I love them.
It's funny. Ryan Reynolds is one of those actors that people are like, oh, it's just they do the same thing every time. And if I like the actor,
That's fine.
then that's why I like them.
That's why we keep watching Denzel Washington movies.
Right. I'm saying people say that about Denzel, and it's like Denzel is amazing at acting, and he's amazing at playing this role and guaranteeing things to people.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee it in all of his movies in different fashions. But yeah, Ryan Reynolds is amazing at just being Ryan Reynolds. And Six Underground, he's more Ryan Reynolds. And that movie actually has more, I don't know the word I want to say, but like there's a little more seriousness to it than I expected. Because they go into people's backstories. I think I'm the only person who saw that movie.
Yes.
I mean, like, in general.
In the world.
Just me and Kayla. But they go into people's backstories, and he's playing a billionaire who's not evil. Okay. Which is a nice change of pace.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, unless you're in a comic book, that's typically.
Exactly. That movie might as well be a comic book. But that's not important. But like the beginning scene where he's in the car with Dave Franco, and it's just like bang, bang, fast cars, Michael Bay, we're in Italy. Look at this. Action, action, action.
Colors.
Fast cars. Excitement. And he's just like riffing with Dave Franco and the woman who I thought was Asa Gonzalez, who was not. I'm sorry.
Adria Arjona.
Yes, thank you.
I think that's how you pronounce her last name.
Sounds about right. And the woman from Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, I don't remember her name.
Dang it.
I'm really bad at all the actors in Inglourious Bastards.
I want to say Melanie Laurent, but I don't know if that's her character.
You could be correct.
Or the actress. Are you typing it?
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. It's Melanie Laurent.
Perfect. Oh, my God. I'm surprised with myself. But yeah, just like the way he plays off of every character in that movie. It's great. And he's great. And I just want him to keep doing this same thing that he's been doing for years.
Now that he's found his niche.
Yeah. And he's good at it. And I want him to keep doing it. Colin, who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Jodie Comer.
Of course. I knew she was on the list somewhere. I didn't know where, though.
What did she play in this role? Last year.
Villanelle.
Killing Eve. I mean, she was also in Star Wars, but I didn't see that. So
we're not going to count that. She's in one scene.
I mean, she's still in the movie.
In passing.
She can't say she's not in the movie.
I'm sorry. We're going to count it in the same way that we count like every cameo that we've said on this podcast, except even shorter of a cameo.
But anyway, I didn't see Star Wars.
I didn't even know who she was.
Eve. But man, she's so good in Killing Eve at like, and she's playing a character that you should not like because she kills people. And it's like there's no real justification. She kills people because she wants to kill people.
I'm trying to tell y'all, man, it's so much fun when you watch characters and you like characters you shouldn't like in real life.
But that's the reason that I like her is because she clearly has emotion and she clearly displays it. And that's down to Jodie Comer. Like a lot of what she does with her face is really good. Like she does a lot of like pouting that's very like, this is not what I would expect this person to be, and yet she is, and it's great. And Jodie Comer just sells it, and she like switches effortlessly from it. Like if she's going after somebody she's gonna kill, she can be completely serious because she has to be. But then when she's in a room with Eve or with her handler, like she can be almost like a child. Because Jodie Comer is so good at being like so many different people all in one character. And it works so well. Also, like, she plays off of Sandra Oh really, really well. And Sandra Oh is great because she's Sandra Oh.
As they should.
She's being
like,
great.
They're like the centerpieces of the show, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's 100% about the two of them, and they're both really good. There's something about Jodie Comer just like she does a lot with her face, and it's really cool to see.
I like people who are like facially expressive. I mean, I like people who aren't as well in roles because I know that you're purposefully hiding something from me, so I'm like intrigued. But like people who are just super expressive with their face, like I'm like, you're telling me a lot right now.
It's funny because my number 3 and Colin's number 3 are in a movie together this year. Free Guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's in that. He's in that. They're in that.
I'm gonna break that cycle. Gabby's number 3 is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who plays Fleabag. She says it raked in so many awards, and for good reason, and she created it, and she also created Killing Eve. I'm sorry. We're still slightly on topic. Surprise. So she loves Phoebe, and she hopes someday she can work with her or for her, whichever one.
Okay.
I don't know, Gabby. I don't know.
You do you, Gabby.
Yeah, you do you. My number 3 is Summer Bishel, who plays Margot Hanson on Sci-Fi's The Magicians. She's always been incredible on the show. And as I said, like yesterday in our character podcast, her character has always been incredible. So, it just helps. The thing is, usually when watching The Magicians, Olivia Taylor-Dudley is the standout for me because Olivia is so good that they have Olivia play like multiple characters in a season, or they change up her character so often that she has to be a different person every time we see, almost every season that we see her. But this season, Summer really impressed me, and it was based off of like basically one episode, which is the episode I was talking about yesterday. Margot's journey through the desert is just proof of how amazingly talented Summer is. Like, it was announced that Sci-Fi submitted her to be considered for an Emmy nomination.
Mm-hmm.
And literally when I saw that, I was like, yeah, like she's not going to get nominated, but she should be considered because that episode is, man, her acting in this episode. The scene where she's talking about her past with her subconscious is just so raw and painful, and you can hear it in the way that she talks and in the way that she like stares, I guess, like it's in her eyes.
Yeah.
Like it's oh my gosh, it's so good. I could watch that scene all day. It's the most vulnerable that we've ever seen this character because she really drops all of her walls and she really lets herself break down.
Yeah.
Summer reaches so deep to get to this point on the show, and that scene has some of my favorite lines. So like her subconscious, played by her best friend in the show, aka Elliot, aka Hale Appleman, who's also really great on the show. But he says to her, "Wind and sand reduce mountains into rubble. Are you stronger than a mountain?" To which she responds, "I'm a king, not a goddamn princess, a king."
Yeah.
And I just like, I remember hearing that line and just being like, whew. I was like, yes, like this is a mood.
I want to interject real quick because I was looking up who Summer Bishop is. She played Azula.
She did.
On the last
I was going to
Adventure
mention that.
movie. And that is such an Azula line to say. Like,
She did what now?
she.
You heard him.
No, say it again.
Don't make me say it again.
Say it again.
Say
it again, Dallas.
So I was gonna mention that.
Yes.
Now that I know who Summer Bishop is, because I didn't back then.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm very disappointed that movie sucked. Now that I'm older and know who she is that she didn't get to play Azula.
Right.
And because of the way that Margot is, I'm like, Margot's just, from what I've seen of Azula, which is only a few episodes, Margot's just a good guy version of Azula. She could have played that role. She could have easily, I was like, she would have slayed the mess out of that role. I got to give it to M. Night Shyamalan for casting her because he cast it properly.
Right.
She would have killed it. But that movie sucks. So,
yeah.
So good for her for also like, kind of escaping that. But like, there's a universe somewhere where that movie is good and got a full series. And she killed that role.
She did her thing.
And it was fantastic. But that's like one of my favorite lines from that episode is his line along with her response to it. There's a scream at the end of that scene that she does. And it's not a pretty scream. Like, you know how you watch movies and like people scream and you're just like, oh, like you're doing like a movie scream.
Got it.
That's not a legit scream. That's just like a...
You're acting.
Yeah, I'm acting. Like I'm doing a scream and I, but... I don't want it to be like weird. Like this is, oh my God. Like, whatever. It's not a pretty scream. Like this is like a really guttural.
Yeah, this is a visceral. Oh God.
Yes. Like from
Something's
the depths of your soul. Like it felt like such a natural scream that after I heard it, I was like, I don't know if I like that. Was that good? And then I had to self-reflect and just be like, no, it was really good because that's how a person would like react.
Yeah.
Like if you're screaming in anguish like that, that's what that sounds like. And like I was like, it's so natural. And like I had to reflect on why like it made me so uncomfortable to see her do that. That's so good that you made me uncomfortable, but oh my gosh, like it's just so emotional. That scene alone is why she's on this list. But also Margot rarely ever gets to smile. And Summer has one of the nicest smiles. And so she gets smiles a couple of times through the season, and it was just really nice to get to see her smile sometimes.
Yeah, I was looking her up. She does have a nice smile.
Yeah, she smirks a lot on the show because that's the type of character that she plays. But when she gets to smile, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's like the sun is shining out of your smile right now. Like, it's such a nice smile. But yeah, Summer Bishop, number 3. I'm hoping that she starts getting more work outside of The Magicians. Also, she's from Pasadena.
Hey,
Word
I was about to bring that up. I was looking her up on Wikipedia. She was born in Pasadena.
She was born in Pasadena. She did not live here for most of her life, but she was born in Pasadena.
We'll take it. It counts.
We claim her. She's ours.
We're so weird.
Listen, we got to get as much Pasadena representation
That's
as we
true.
can get.
Yeah, get it where we can.
Number 2, Dallas. Number 2.
Number 2 was number 6 on my list in 2018, Donald Glover. For his performances in Guava Island and obviously The Lion King.
So are we not going to talk about that accent thing that's happening in Guava Island though?
Sure, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that was choices were made.
I was about to say that.
I don't know if they were good choices.
Yeah, that accent.
Where do we start?
It started and then it left.
Which is crazy because the movie's not long.
It's an hour.
It's an hour. And
It's a good movie though.
oh yeah, dope movie. Good performances. That accent aside.
It's a really good folktale.
The movie, according to Wikipedia, is 56 minutes. How did you not hold the accent for 56 minutes? I know obviously making the movie is longer, but like it's just whatever. That's not
especially
why
because Rihanna's your leading lady. But like
right? Just
but
try to sound like her.
He's really good in that movie.
He's good. That's the crazy thing. It's like, why are you doing this accent? Just don't do it. But yeah, in Guava Island, he plays a character named Denny, who I like to call Tropical Ern from Atlanta because he's so Ern.
But less exhausted.
I guess so.
He's happier.
Yeah, he's happy. He's happy. He's like Ern if Ern wasn't just broke and living in a storage unit. But he just does things that I'm like, bro, this isn't what you should be doing right now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
This is not in your best interest, maybe. There's a big, scary island Suge Knight dude after you. Maybe you should lay low.
Nosy.
Yeah, like don't do that.
Also, the remixes to some of those songs, though.
And that's honestly part of the reason why he's on the list for that is because when he starts to perform This Is America.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking that one.
Cinema. Like
Cinema.
And it reminds me a lot of, ironically, given who I am. There's a scene, I think it's a West Side Story, when they're singing about going to America.
Yes.
And dudes are like, don't go to America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember the line, if you're all white in America.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of the energy from this scene. It's like the dude's like, oh, we should go to America. And Danny's like,
nah.
let me tell you why you shouldn't. This is America. Like that's the whole thing. But the way it ends, I took a picture of the screen because the face he makes is haunting.
Oh no.
Like, you remember the end of the music video for This America was getting chased?
Yes.
And he like has that terrifying look in his face?
Yes.
So it's kind of like that, but escalated and he's not running. He's just staring at the guy and like points at him. And oh my God, it's the stuff of nightmares. But it's just like, yo, this is acting. And moving that on for like a nice little palate cleanser. When he does the song Summertime Magic for Rihanna's character, it's the most beautiful thing.
It is.
Like, I just want.
In that moment, I wanted Rihanna to just get up and start singing it with him though.
Right. Like, because that song is fire. I love that song.
Oh yeah, so good.
I played it so much after watching that movie and before that. But just watching him like perform it in his flowy little shirt and his shorts, just like.
On the beach?
Yes. Like Black Boy Joy. He is feeling it. And I felt it in my heart.
But then he also played Simba.
Yes, and you can't not be on my list if you play Simba. Simba is a part of my soul. And he's the reason, well, one of the reasons why I love the new Lion King so much. Because as I always say when people ask me, because they took my favorite movie and put Donald Glover in it. Like, I almost went to my feet, but I applauded and yelled when he popped out of those bushes singing Hakuna Matata as a lion.
It's what we deserve.
Yeah. You did everything that I love growing up as Simba, but
as Donald Glover.
Yeah, you just did it as Donald Glover, and it's just like, oh my God, you're Simba, and I get to see you in a movie theater. The experience that I get to enjoy that I never got as a kid because the movie came out in '94, and I was freaking 2 years old. Didn't get that.
That's how I feel about most Disney movies that came out when we were kids.
Yeah, I was I was a toddler.
The first movie I remember seeing in theaters that was a Disney movie is Mulan.
And that was what, like 98?
Yeah, we were like 6.
Yeah. Like my favorite movie, I never got the experience of watching in a theater full of people.
That's how I feel about Star Wars as well.
Right, yeah, that was way before. That was in the 70s. You had no luck for that. It's not like Donald Glover made the movie, but he starred in it, and him just being Simba was enough to get him on the list. And he did it well.
Yes.
You know, when you're watching a movie where a lot of the lines are the same, it's kind of weird, like hearing different inflections and stuff like that. But like, this Simba sounds... He's black. I don't know how else to say
I would
it.
say like he's black.
The way he's talking, like, and I'm so glad he didn't do an accent. After Guava Island, like, no, don't do an accent. But just the way he talks, like when Zazu is bothering him and he's just like, you know, leave me alone, man. Nothing. Like, go away. And it's just, it hits different when it's Donald Glover. I'm sad that there was no season of Atlanta for me to put on the list
He would have been number 1 if there had been a season of it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, Donald Glover, number 2.
Colin.
My number 2 is Denny Love, who played the Colonel or Chip on Looking for Alaska.
Nice.
Because, man, he goes through it in 8 episodes. Like, he just has to do a lot. Like, he has to be comic relief. He has to be, like, the bedrock of friendships that are falling apart. He has to go through his own, like, just heartbreak and sadness near the end of it. And, like, he does all of that so well. And when you compare, like, him and, you know, a scene in one of the earlier episodes where he's, you know, getting himself kicked out of basketball games because that's what he does, compared to, like, when he has a breakdown, and I think either the last episode or the next to last episode, like, those are wildly different people, and Danny Love does both of them so well. You can also chart how he got from one to the other, like, it makes sense,
Yeah.
but he has to do so much in not a lot of time. In 8 episodes, each one's about 45 minutes, and he's obviously not in every scene, but, like...
Yeah, he's not the leading character.
Right, but he just switches from, you know, one version of the Colonel to another based on what's going on and, like, who's around him, and, like, he's a different person when he's at school versus when he's at home with his mom. Oh man, Danny Love is just, like, I remember watching, I think that breakdown scene was one of the parts where I had to pause and, like, get up and walk around for a bit, because it's just like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah, this is rough.
It was good, like, it's really good, but you're doing the most, and it's working real well.
So Gabby's number 2, I would have been skipped earlier tonight. And we've talked enough about her, but her number 2 is Ana de Armas.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's great.
I feel that.
And we've already discussed how great Ana de Armas is, so it's not like you guys missed anything. My number 2 is Maria Gabriela de Faria, who played Cora on Fox's A Moody Christmas and Maria Salazar on Sci-Fi's Deadly Class. Well, I'm going to start with A Moody's Christmas. I was excited to see her in something after Deadly Class got canceled, and so soon after Deadly Class got canceled.
Yeah.
Because it was within the same year. So, like, once Deadly Class got canceled, I was like, oh man, my peeps are going to have to find new jobs. Like, what are my babies going to do? I want to wait until they finally get other jobs. And, like, a few months before December, she, like, posted up, hey, I got to roll on the show. And I was like, oh, that's great. That means it'll be coming out, like, next year. A couple months later, it was like, hey, guys, the first episode of this is playing. And I was just like, what? Already? Wait a minute. Hold on. I didn't know you had a job, like, this year that I get to watch you in again. That's great.
Yes.
And it's so great because it was really refreshing because Cora is a very different person from Maria. Cora is just a normal person.
Oh, good.
But, like, she's also she's a really nice person who's just trying to figure out, like, her love life. And yeah, it was cool because I haven't seen Maria Gabriela I had only seen her do Maria Salazar at that point. And she's really great as Maria Salazar. So it was nice to see her play, like, a different type of role.
Yeah.
Because it was like, great. I don't have to watch you be, like, sad, like, all the time.
Right.
So it was really nice to see her do a shift in personality. But obviously, she's mostly on this list. And I think she's been number 2 on my list for a while. Because I initially had it as the ensemble cast of Deadly Class. Because this is one of the best adaptations of anything that I've ever loved. It probably is the best adaptation for me of anything I've ever loved because it is so true to the graphic novels. So getting to see her play a very true version of Maria, it's just everything I want.
That makes sense. I feel that.
But I was like, no, I don't want to do any, like, ensemble cast this time around. I just want to do one person. Who would I choose? And I'm like, obviously I'm choosing Maria Gabriela because she's my favorite character on the show. And I feel like she has so much to do as that character. She just nails that role so perfectly. And because it's my favorite character, like, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have a character who's, if you've been reading something that you absolutely adore and then you're like, they're going to make a TV show or a movie, you don't want to see the actor, like, completely butcher it.
Clearly.
Like, you want to see them be amazing at it. And she is amazing at it. And the character has bipolar disorder and at one point stops taking her meds, which I mentioned yesterday when I was talking about the character. So, like, obviously the character has a lot of highs and lows that you have to go through.
Yeah.
And Maria Gabriela, it just seems so exhausting. Maria Gabriela has to do all of this. Like, oh my gosh, like, literally her first scene on screen that we ever see her is her crying in a bathroom stall and trying to open a pill bottle. Like, it's so much. Within the span of one episode, literally there's a scene where she's manic and dancing around joyously with her very alarmed boyfriend, mind you, because he doesn't realize she's bipolar at this point. Ooh. He's just like, what's, and they're trying to keep their relationship a secret. So she's dancing around with him and, like, kissing him in front of people. And she's like, what are you doing? What's up? What's going on? But, like, yeah, she's dancing around joyously and she's just happy and, you know, wow, she's up there. And then literally within the span of like the next 10, 15 minutes, she is depressed, self-harming, tries to shoot her boyfriend with an arrow, and then begs him on her knees to stay with her.
Goodness gracious.
She does so many things in that episode.
Just hearing that was exhausting.
It's so exhausting. And she had to act all that out in one episode. That's just one episode out of 10. Like,
It's a lot.
And she's so great at it. The scene where she's begging him on her knees to stay, oh my gosh. Just like, I was like, no, stop. Oh my gosh. Like, she's just so distraught because she's like at her worst. She's just killed her ex-boyfriend. She's feeling so much guilt from it. And just, she's dating this guy now that she really, really likes and who isn't physically abusive to her. She just shot him with an arrow because she's jealous. And she's like, I don't want to lose you. And it is so much, but she's so good at it. And it never seems over the top, even though it sounds over the top as I'm explaining it.
Oh, it definitely does.
There's a scene in the episode before that, right before she kills the boyfriend that she has at that time. And he catches her in bed with the guy she ends up dating. And he's like, you would be dead if it wasn't for me. Because as a kid, he's the reason why his dad didn't kill her.
Okay.
And so he's like, you'd be dead if it wasn't for me. And she goes, I am dead. And the way that she screams it at him, because she's like, I'm dead inside.
Yeah.
This isn't living.
Goodness gracious.
I hate this. And she's so good. She's so good. Her character arc and the journey she goes on is my favorite thing about that comic. And yeah, she just has this beautiful arc of just going from being so like this codependent abuse victim who just has to latch on to somebody to save her to becoming this woman who's like, no, I can do this myself. I'm not taking any more crap from anybody. I'm independent and I can save myself. It's just so good. And Maria Gabriella is incredible all throughout it. And I'm so glad that I got that, even though I'm not going to get one of my favorite comics adapted. Oh my God, it would have been so great though. I would have had to go like a season or a half a season without Maria Gabriella being on the show.
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, in the comic books, we think that she's dead for like a good 10 issues. And then it turns out she's not.
Surprise.
I was really sad when I read that comic. But like, man, she's so good in that role. And I wish that I could get to see her do the rest of what we've gotten to see her do in the comic books because she would have killed it. Number one.
You made it
We did.
toward the end. My number one is Will Smith. What a surprise.
I knew he was on the list.
Of course.
Yeah.
For Aladdin, Gemini Man, and Spies in Disguise. He's also been busy this year.
He has.
It's been a busy year for him. Also, he has a YouTube channel, and he's been just posting everything he can on that YouTube channel.
But it's been great.
Which is amazing. Like, that, honestly, it's those three movies and his YouTube channel because
I really enjoyed all the stuff that he was doing around Aladdin because it was just fun watching him, like, interact with Mina and Naomi because they are not nearly as big of a star as he is.
Yeah, it's just funny seeing him act with all these people. It's like the same with the Tom Holland thing. Just a likable man being with likable people.
Yeah, exactly.
And his likable family. So, yeah, Aladdin. It's kind of the same thing with Ryan Reynolds and Detective Pikachu, except Aladdin doesn't go off the rails the way Detective Pikachu does. But he is the reason why I like it so much. Because of his character, the genie. Oh, my God. That genie.
He's so great.
Yeah. And, you know, everyone had their worries and their doubts. Like, oh, my God, what's he going to do? Is he going to try to copy Robin Williams? They can't recreate what they did. Da-da-da-da-da. But I was like, yo, Will Smith is funny. He's never been the type of funny that Robin Williams is. Like, they're different actors. They have different skill sets.
And they both have high energy.
Yeah, it's going to be a different kind of role. And the movie came out. I would hear different people say different things, but no one was saying anything bad about the genie. Everyone was like, yo, the genie killed it. Will Smith was great. He was like my favorite part of the movie. Definitely my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, there were like two consistent things I was seeing in reviews. It was Will Smith is great as the genie. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And Naomi Scott does a really good job as Princess Jasmine.
Yeah.
Like, those were the two things I read in almost every review.
It's like, yeah, our favorites were fine.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about on our end.
They were good. That was what we came to the theater for.
But yeah, I sat down and like, as soon as he starts singing Arabian Nights, I'm like, yo.
This is it.
I love this movie. Yeah, he stole the show with that.
He used to be Will Smith. Well,
Just
also I
him.
have a really funny story about our two favorites. When she was filming Speechless, obviously it's a really emotional scene. She had the tears or whatever.
Yeah.
They finished. They were like, they called cut or something. And Will Smith went up to like congratulate Naomi. It was like, oh, great job. And like did a high five like immediately after she had like wiped her nose.
That's...
And like, it was like they both, when they were talking about it, they were like, there was this tense moment of like, are you gonna do this? Are you really gonna
Like,
do this?
don't do it. Just don't do it.
I think she did.
Why?
Because it was too late at that point.
No, just put your hand down.
I don't know if she did or not. I can't remember if she did or not. But it's a really funny story that he brought up at a press conference. And she was like, I hate the fact that you tell this story.
I gotta say, that's not where I thought that story was gonna go. And I wish it didn't go there. But it's funny because, yeah, the genie is... Will Smith is one of those actors where a lot of people say, like, oh, you know, he's just kind of doing the same thing. And it's... There's comedy Will Smith and there's serious Will Smith. Let's talk about Gemini Man.
It's a little bit of both.
Gemini Man is...
Mostly dramatic Will Smith.
Yeah, but in a way where I kind of feel like I wish they would have let him bring more of his personality into it. I think that's something that... Colin, did you watch Gemini Man?
He did.
With me?
Man
No.
Meat.
When did you... What?
He watched it without us.
Oh, yeah, Man Meat. But yeah, I think something that Colin said at some point was like, you have a really charismatic actor playing a not super charismatic character. And it's just like, yo, you have Will Smith. Let him do his thing. And I get the movie's more serious than all that. But he's done it before. Like, he does the action roles. He does Enemy of the State. He does iRobot. He does...
iRobot, he's charismatic and still very dour.
Yeah, and that would have been perfect. And I think I actually like Gemini Man. And it was because there were hints of that.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was one of those movies that if you had someone else in this role, I probably wouldn't like it as much as I did. But then there are just certain lines that, like, Will Smith sells that. Like
Man
Meat. Not going to talk about the Man Meat, okay? Leave it alone. But the part
He should have left it alone.
I forgot about that until you brought it up, so thank you for ruining that for me. The part where he points the gun at his clone. He's like, why would he send you? And he's like, because I'm the best. And he like lifts the gun higher in his face. You are obviously not the best. And it's like, that's Will. Like, that line is just delivered perfectly by Will. There's something about this year actors playing themselves and a different version of themselves, like Lupita Nyong'o in Us, and then James McAvoy playing everyone in the world in Glass, and then Will playing himself and a younger version of himself. That's a lot more like, you know, the best of the best of the best, sir. And I don't know, I just have a thing for that. And then there's Spies in Disguise. And Spies in Disguise is...
two of the most likable actors ever playing against each other.
His character... I wish Gemini Man would have been a little bit more in that direction, because his character, Lance Sterling, is a spy. He's the best, and he's cocky, and he's arrogant, and he's like a family-friendly Mike Lowry from Bad Boys. Because of the way he just like walks around. He's like, yo, I'm the best at what I do. Everybody loves me. And he walks into the headquarters, and it's like that fire drill I walked into at work that time when everybody applied. And I was like, yo, I've been that. That's been me. Yeah, it's just like, I shouldn't like you because you're arrogant and you're self-centered, but you're so good at what you do, and you're Will Smith. Like, he comes in during a mission, and the first thing he like does it to this henchman. He's like, hey, how y'all living? Like, just chilling. And the proceeds to whoop on everybody. And I need you to see that movie.
I'm planning to.
Because just like comedy aside, Will Smith and Tom Holland aside, it's really good. The villain's really good. There's some really dope shots.
Yay.
I kind of want to watch it with you, but I don't know how we're going to schedule that. So just do your thing. Because when I saw the trailer for Spies in Disguise, I was like, yo, Will Smith and Tom Holland. And then I was like, wait, he's a bird?
He's a bird.
And I was like, I don't think I like this premise.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying that. You were like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Like, he's going to be a pigeon for the movie? But even the scene, like, you know, you can tell from the trailer, he's going to spend a lot of the movie as a pigeon. But it was still enjoyable because he brings that to the role. Like, he's that same character as this pigeon that is blue for some reason. But like, there's a scene in the trailer where he says something like, you know, fix me. You turn me into a bird, you can't turn me back. And Tom Holland's like, well, technically you turned yourself into a bird. And he's just like, oh, I'm gonna hurt this boy. It's just like, it's so Will, and I love it. And the movie's full of that. And that is one of the reasons why he's my favorite actor of 2019 and ever. Colin.
Number one.
My number one is Jarrell Jerome.
Hey.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
When They See Us.
Ooh, I can never watch that again. Like, oh my God. I can't
Part of me wants to rewatch certain episodes, but I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this again.
I could do the first three. I can never do episode 4 again. I can't like that. Oh,
That's the episode where he really earned that Emmy.
well, yeah, because also like there's something about jail that is just so terrifying to me. I've never much cared about like metaphysical threats. You can tell me about like hell or whatever. I don't care. But the idea of being stuck in like a cell and you can't leave and you can't do anything and you're very like that lack of control is terrifying. And that's what the entire 4th episode is.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh my God. But throughout like the entire series, he goes from being like a kid to being just a terrified, sad adult. And it's just awful to watch, but he's so good at it.
That's why he won that award.
Yeah.
I'm really mad at the Golden Globes for really
deserve that. Like,
for snubbing them because he gave one of the greatest performances of the year.
yeah, 100% he did.
Without question.
And that 4th episode is almost entirely about him.
It is, yeah,
and it's
it is him.
It's like a solid hour of mostly him.
Yeah, because the episode before it is about the other 4 guys because
Right.
they all went to juvie, but he went to prison.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So it's all, that episode is all him, his journey in and out of different prisons, and like he's on his own without the rest of the boys for that entire episode for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a solitary confinement scene.
Oh yeah. Mm-mm.
It is rough. But also like he's also the only, and I think this just says a lot about his talent. He's the only actor of the 5 who gets to play both the younger and older version of his character.
Yeah, good point.
It's interesting.
Ava DuVernay didn't want to do that at first, but she saw him with the facial hair and then without the facial hair and was like, no, you can do both then. So she just let him play it all throughout. And it's a good thing she did because I think it really did help. But yeah, the other boys are a little too young looking to do that, but he's the only actor who plays the same.
I also think it was probably a good decision given like what he goes through and like that so much of that episode is just focused on him that like to watch that same person go through all of that I think worked really well.
Yeah, because you're already emotionally invested in the look of this actor because this is the actor that you know.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get there and you're like, no, don't want any of this. Don't do this to him.
When They See Us is like one of those things that like I'm really glad I watched it and I think it's important and that people should watch it, but I can't watch it again.
It's one of those things where I always just want, like, there are certain things in this world I'm just like, you should watch it once. And then even if you never see it again, at least you saw
it's also
it
like
once.
I think it's one of those things you have to watch like all at once.
Yeah,
Because I feel like if you watched
watch
part of it and stopped, you wouldn't. It'd be hard to go back.
I don't remember if I stopped or not. I must have just.
I think I did like 3 episodes, like 2 or 1 episode and then 3 or something. But
I must have just ran through it.
God, he's good, and I want to see him in more things. I think the only other thing I've seen him in is Moonlight.
And he's good at Moonlight.
He was great in that too.
Oh yeah, he was in Moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I'd like to see him do something a little lighter in tone though, because man, he's really incredibly good at drama, like incredible.
And you're like, we know you can do drama,
But like, give the guy a break,
Stop it! I'm tired of seeing you being sad things.
right? Like, dang. But he's really good at being sad, so like, if that's his thing, go for it.
All right, so Gabby's number 1 is Henry Cavill. He gets number 1 because she was not a fan of his until she watched The Witcher.
All right.
So he gets number 1.
That is, I wish she were here because if you asked me what of any of his roles I would think would be the least indicative of his skill in acting, I would say The Witcher because he does so little.
But I think if you
he was rewritten to do with less when Henry Cavill took the role.
Well, the thing is, I think if you have seen Henry Cavill in other roles, like it kind of steers away from what we're usually used to him doing. Because, Superman and his character in Theseus in Immortals and Charles Brandon, because Charles Brandon is a philandering playboy.
What is that from?
The Tudors.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, like Henry, Napoleon Solo from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, these are all very different roles from what he is as The Witcher. And I love his performance in The Witcher as well. But also, I just want to say, 3 actors from The Witcher showed up on these lists, so you guys should just watch The Witcher. Take that as a recommendation. 3 separate actors appeared on 3 separate lists.
Yeah, I'm the only one who was Witcher-less on my list.
So you guys should check that out.
You watched a 4th of the show, so I wouldn't expect you to have.
Oh yeah, you went back and watched the rest.
The rest of us watched the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's finish this off. My number 1 is Emilia Clarke, who played Kate in Last Christmas and Daenerys Targaryen on HBO's Game of Thrones. She was number 3 on IMDb's top 10 stars of 2019.
She has the range.
She has all of the range.
Like, the thing is, regardless of
how you feel about the writing,
regardless of how the season went for the character, she still had to act all of it.
and she did it.
And she did it. And then she switches to Last Christmas and is
Kate.
wildly different.
Oh my gosh.
Completely different.
Once again, I just want to say on this podcast, thank you to Emma Thompson and Paul Feig, or Feig, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but for allowing Emilia to be her usual expressive, quirky self, all while being a disaster of a human being. Because Kate is wonderful. I love getting to see Emilia Clarke just be funny and have fun, which she's clearly doing in Last Christmas.
Absolutely.
And that's all I want. And I love getting to hear her sing because Emilia Clarke is a really good singer. I'm waiting on her to do her musical. I waited a couple years for Lily James, so now it's Emilia Clarke's turn. But yeah, Kate is just a huge departure from Daenerys Targaryen.
Mm-hmm.
And Daenerys, honestly, this past season, I think should have won her something. For years, there's been a section of the fandom that have just trashed Emilia Clarke and have said that she is the weakest in the cast and that she's a weak actor, that she can't act. This season, she's probably the strongest actor out of everybody on the show, which was a poorly written season. Her performance this season is so tragic and heart-wrenching. Like, you start off the season like you're hopeful. Like, she's hopeful. She's finally here. She's made it. And now she's going to do what she came to do. She's going to take the throne. And just over the course of 6 episodes, we just slowly, like not even slowly, very quickly, and unfortunately quickly, watch her just descend into utter chaos and madness. I just saw so many reviews that were saying that the only thing good about that story was Emilia Clarke's acting, because she was the only thing making it seem reasonable. Because otherwise, I mean, I'm still going, what? How did we get here in this short of a time period? Like, if it wasn't for Emilia Clarke's acting, it's just like there's nothing there to really make this story make sense, because all the emotion is in her face. It's in her movements. It's in the way that she's playing this character. There are just some golden performances from her. For instance, so the scene after they've executed Missandei, just that moment, it's not even the scene, it's the moment after where she's watching it happen, and then she turns around and you see her face shift. She goes from like distraught, like mourning, like grief, like, oh my God, like I just lost literally the best friend that I've ever had in this world, to, all right, fuck these guys, I'm about to burn everything down.
Hey, time out. Is Missandei the black girl?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, exactly.
That sucks.
I mean, she makes it almost to the end, so like
it was still a disappointment.
She makes it a lot longer than I think anyone expected her to. Let's be honest.
But she's still also the only black chick on the show, so like,
yeah, that's still
bro.
Ooh, is she the only?
She is. It was a big deal in the black community. They were like, what the hell? She's literally the only black person you have on the show, and you killed her like this. And they killed her in chains.
Is she the only black woman on the show? You gotta give me a second. Is she the only one? I mean, they don't have very many black men. You can probably count them on one hand, but like,
you can.
Yo.
She's like the only black woman on the show.
Yo, what the fuck?
But yeah, Danny's facial expression when after that happens, that shift from sadness to, okay, I'm gonna burn everything down. This is it. Like, I'm done. We're good. We're straight. I know what I have to do now. But also the moment when she's on Drogon and the bells ring, as stupid as that is, her performance up there on the bell tower and watching the city down below, and the range of emotions that crosses over her face in the span of that like 5 seconds is some of the greatest.
See, it's interesting because I get
work.
stuck a lot on I can't tell if I like her performance or not because it feels really melodramatic. But when that's what is called for, like, I don't know, you know?
Like, it's so good. It's such, her face is just so good. And then to know that she's doing it to nothing. There's a green screen all around her in reality. She's not acting to anything but a green screen. And her face does all of this work. And I'm just like, Emilia Clarke, you expressive mother, just, you're so good. And then obviously her speech scene in Dothraki and Valyrian, incredible. She's so good in that scene. And the final scene that she has with Jon Snow, like, regardless of how I feel about the writing and how they sent her character down this road, she's really great. She put in work. I needed 2 or 3 seasons of her getting to do this.
Yeah.
Like, if I had spent 2 or 3 seasons of watching Emilia Clarke just slowly do all of this work instead of having to do it back to back to back in like the last 3 episodes, oh my gosh, that would have been, it's a powerhouse performance. And 2 to 3 seasons of that would have been the greatest thing in the world. And Emilia would have gotten awards for it if they had given her the time to do it. The fact that she can do it is incredible. And I don't know if she'll ever get another role where she'll get to do something like that again. But she's number 1 on my list. I want to continue to see her be successful. I would like her to do all the roles that she feels like doing. But also, I would like her to return as Kira in the Star Wars franchise because she's one of my favorites and I love that performance.
She wasn't it.
She's so good as Kira.
I don't know that I would keep your fingers crossed.
It's not going to happen, but, I'm still going to ask if I can have it, please.
If we're asking Star Wars favorites, then let's bring Donald Glover back.
That too.
Let's do it. Give him his movie.
I put them both back in a movie because they were great together. So
give them their own movie and call it a day. Like, you could do that. That's fine.
I'll go see it. I will spend the money.
Nobody else will, and that's why they won't make it. But
I don't know. If they market it correctly and write a proper story. I mean, everybody loved Lando, to be fair.
Hell yeah, they did. Lando was dope.
Everybody
they should.
Point being, Emilia Clarke is my number 1 on my list, and that is the end of our list.
We did it.
Woo.
We made it.
Join us again tomorrow for our favorite music artists of 2019. Thank you guys for listening.
Yes, audience. Thank you so much for listening to all of that. Let us know who your favorite actors of 2019 were. Thank you to Crown Digital, Brandon and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing and setting up all these recaps. Thank you, Colin, for knowing 10 actors, because I know actors aren't really your whole thing. Gabby, we miss you and we love you. Rest in peace. Share.
We hope you come back tomorrow.
Yeah, that. Like, share, subscribe, rate, do all that things, etc., etc. You can find us on Twitter at y'all_different. Find us on Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast. Find us on Facebook. Just search for Creative Differences. Look for our logo. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Donald Glover. Just kidding. A king named Simba. Colin, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck, and you can find Gabby on Twitter at Thirsty Like a Castaway in the Desert.
Ooh.
Nicely done. And you guys can find me at Dreamy Films on Instagram and Twitter, DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
It's been different.
Bye.